And although I think the grandstands are a bit empty, we already have a couple of cars in the queue. And officially we are going to start with the endurance at 8:45. However, I can imagine that the organization will just wait a little bit to fill the queue with cars. So we don't have any major breaks in the first endurance order. I think we already see a couple of cars. Which are those, Austin?
You can see car number 72 from Bremen, car 247 from TU Darmstadt, and car 372 from Hamburg. These cars are actually sort of around 19, 20, 21 in the run order, so it's not looking very good for the first 18 at the moment, but you never know, they could always make a last-minute appearance and get a chance to run. If you're not familiar, the endurance run order is set based on autocross times from yesterday, so a lot of the teams at the beginning of the run order either had very slow times or didn't even set a time at all. So it's not entirely surprising that some of them are missing from the endurance start.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Some teams have been working during the night as well to get the cars ready. We've seen some pictures of cars being taken apart to replace the engine even. So some of the teams have had, well, a bit of a lack of sleep this last night. But then again, it is the last night of the competition. So of course, tonight we will have the Mala party, which is a different kind of excitement. But yeah, absolutely right. These teams that are competing here have done already a great job just by being here. And well, driving here is never easy, obviously, and getting through the scrutineering isn't easy here in Germany as well. So for a lot of teams, that's already a victory by itself.
That's exactly right, Mickey. And as you mentioned, there were some teams had to make some repairs overnight. Some of those will involve having to be re-scrutineered, so we can see several of those cars looking to do the brake test at the moment, I think. So at least some of the teams have been able to implement the repairs from yesterday.
And I think maybe this is also a good time to explain a little bit the procedure, Austin. So the total amount of kilometers that have to be driven by all the teams is 22, so 22 kilometers, which has to be divided in 2 stints, so 1 driver per stint. So halfway we will have the driver change. The car will have to pull in the driver change area where they put in the second driver, make sure he's properly secured. And after that they will be allowed to reach an endurance and hopefully finish it. We know from our experience, Austin, that the finish rate here is quite low. I think it's about 40% finishing rate here. And well, we will see probably some broken suspensions, maybe some overheated engines. It's going to be hot today as well. And also the electric cars might have a little bit of an issue with the well, controlling the temperature of their batteries and motors.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mickey. And another problem we see quite frequently is the inability of cars to restart during the pit stop. It's always very tense. Sometimes the batteries are low, sometimes the starter motors are just not cooperating. Sometimes it takes teams 2 or 3 minutes to get restarted. And there is a minimum amount of pit time to make sure the cars are safe. The scrutineers will do a check. They'll also make sure the driver is buckled in properly. But after that minimum amount of time, if the team is still in the pits, that time is coming off of their endurance run.
Yeah, and just to remind the teams a little bit that are listening, I just witnessed the scrutineering briefing this morning, and it was very explicit that only the driver inside the car is allowed to touch any of the buttons inside the car. So the other team members are only there to help with the driver change. They are really not allowed to touch any buttons or help restarting. Only the person inside the car is allowed to do that. Otherwise it will be, they're very strict about this, but fair to everybody, and they will disqualify you if you do that wrong. So just a reminder for all teams, don't panic, stay calm. If you hesitate, just ask the scrutineers, they will always help you, and make sure that you follow the rules. They are very clear also in the event handbook and all the other rules which are in there. Just make sure you abide by them, and you'll be fine. And in case of doubt, please ask someone. And there you go. They get 3 minutes for the driver change, as we just told earlier, and after that another minute to get the car restarted. And if for some reason the car doesn't work after that, then it's game over, unfortunately. How about the rules out on track, Austin? What can we tell the audience about that?
Well, the endurance track is pretty similar in layout to the track we saw in autocross yesterday. Some of the corners are a little bit less severe, given the fact that the cars have to navigate them higher than 20 times. Out on track, there are some blue designated passing areas. Even though there are multiple cars on track at once, there is no passing allowed unless the marshals signal for the slower car to pull into one of the blue passing zones. There's 4 of those located around the course, sort of equidistant from one another. In the past, some drivers have not been the best at looking at blue flags, so hopefully that doesn't happen today, because it can be very frustrating for fast cars stuck behind slower traffic. But that's also one of the advantages of setting a fast autocross time, is that you're with cars of equal speed, so in theory that should be less of a problem the closer to the end of the day we get.
Yeah, exactly. There can be no excuse for that. Holding up other cars while getting blue flags. All the drivers did the course walk this morning. We could see that. And I think all the drivers must know by now where the overtaking lanes are. They are being briefed every morning as well during the dynamic days. So they get an explanation about the flags, in which we will come to a bit later. And they should know exactly what's going on the track, and they should be vigilant and always looking towards the marshals for any clues and advice from the marshals, especially during potentially dangerous situations.
With all the cones on course, there are penalties if a car hits a cone or goes off track. If a cone is hit, that's a 2-second penalty added to the endurance time. If the car goes off track, there's a 20-second penalty applied, regardless of where they rejoin the circuit. I did have a quick track walk myself this morning, noticed a few areas which I think could be quite interesting for some of the teams. The hairpin on the actual Formula One racetrack, just at the end of the Nord curve, looks quite severe. It's also quite wide, so there's a variety of lines the cars could be taking in, but I think we may see a few, shall we say, failures of the suspension in that area. It's quite a high-speed section going to one of the slowest parts of the circuit. There's also quite a few bumps. You can't quite see when you're watching from the stands, but on the track, it's by no means flat. There's lots of undulation, and it's going to be quite exciting for the drivers out there.
Yeah, we saw already yesterday a number of suspension failures happening on cars as well, and this car is notorious for the bumps and in general being heavy on all the cars out there. We will see definitely here. We have the especially close to us in the tower with the 2 tents where we are sitting at the moment, and we have a fairly good view of the inner part of the track, especially near the horseshoe. There's a couple of bumps there, and I'm pretty sure some teams will bottom there as well, maybe damage some wings, so they really have to be careful. Although during the heat of the moment and driving the car on the limit, you don't really mind the bumps. You just go full mode over it, even though the team is wishing for the driver to take the car home at least in one piece. So that will be quite interesting.
Yeah, that being said, Mickey, I was on the track walk just behind some of the drivers from TU Graz who we know had suspension issues yesterday, and they looked like they were mapping all of the bumpy areas of the circuit, potentially making notes of where they need to be careful to make sure they finished endurance. So different strategies based on car robustness, I suppose.
Yeah, I think if the driver knows his car pretty good, then he will know where he can take some risk and where he should ease off a little bit. And actually, we saw a very old school, some drivers carrying around a notebook and a pen and making notes. And some drivers do it with an iPad, or some of them even take a GoPro with them, or a smartphone to take some pictures or some videos. And I actually saw yesterday in preparation for the autocross some drivers sitting in a chair, closing their eyes and driving the track, and with every movement, including the shifting and the braking, and it was very funny to see. And at one point in time, I was timing one of the drivers with a stopwatch, seeing whether he was well on par with the expected time or not. And he wasn't that much off, to be honest. So that was really funny to see. Obviously, they have a bit more laps today. It's a 22-kilometer endurance. So yeah, they should have a bit more time to get adjusted to the track and the conditions out there. Yeah, and all these teams will have to drive in a total of 18 laps. So that's 18 laps. And after 9 laps, there will be a driver change for the second stint. Yeah, like we saw last years, we've had a lot of rain last year here out on in Hockenheim. This year it was quite dry. We had some, maybe a little bit of rain, but not much. So the track will be hot again today. The weather forecast says about 30 degrees. How much is that in Fahrenheit, Austin? So definitely we will see some heated temperatures out there on the cars, which is obviously good for the grip level of the cars, tires being heated up nicely. But it also means that maybe some tires will have the drop-off reach before the end. And I think we are about to start, Austin. We have car number 72, Uni Bremen.
That's right, and it's 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, I wasn't quite paying attention when you asked earlier. At the moment, though, it's still only 18 Celsius or 65 Fahrenheit.
And there we go. First car out on track, car number 72, Uni Bremen. And the endurance has officially begun. First car. So did we see the Bremen car out there yesterday on track, guys? You've been doing the autocross, and I'm not sure. They were certainly not fast because they're the first car on track at the moment. So
yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so that we see them. It's quite a distinct car to look at. It's a black car with a sort of greenish honeycomb livery. Can't recall seeing it before. And also the Bremen car is only the 19th car in the running order. So the first 18 cars of the running order. All cars, of course, that were unable to drive yesterday. Also didn't seem to be able to make it before. So they have to run out of order now, which will penalize them. And I certainly hope that they can rejoin us later.
18 cars, that's a lot. Of course, we've seen no attempts from some teams, but we've also seen some teams that were able to put in a lap time yesterday, but they're not here yet. So that's a bit of worrying for them. What is the procedure for running out of order?
Well, before we get there, I think we've already got some drama here in the endurance. The TU Darmstadt car 247 is next in queue. I can hear the starter motor cranking over and over and over and over, but no engine noise yet. They haven't actually started the event yet, so not sure if they'll be wheeled back and given an attempt to fix that or what. But meanwhile, car number 72 comes across the line from Bremen to complete the first lap of endurance.
The Bremen car is, of course, electric. This is their fourth attendance at Formula Student Germany. And so far, if my data is correct, they have not been able to finish any of the endurances here they participated in. So I hope today will be better for them. They do have a rear power setup for the electric car. So it's a two-wheel drive car with 80 kilowatts installed and the MREX 207 motors.
I did have a look just now, and the Bremen car actually did take to the track yesterday on autocross, but they had a single, very slow lap. So, if I recall correctly, they had some issues. I think they might have been in the queue at the very end of the autocross, however, but they didn't have another run.
At the moment, they've still got the track to themselves. It's looking quite smooth so far. I've not seen any cones knocked over. The TU Darmstadt car still having issues getting started, I think.
No, actually, you're right, Thijs. I think we saw the autocross track closing at 7:30. Well, actually, it was 7:34, but it was closing, I think, just before a couple of teams had the opportunity to take to the track with a second driver. And I think I might remember, I'm not sure, but I do seem to recall Bremen also being in the queue, just having a bit of a bad luck, obviously. So yeah, that's usually what you get if you have some technical difficulties getting the car ready or passing scrutineering.
So I can hear car 372 has been fired up. TU Darmstadt still having problems with car 247 though. We'll see if 372 is given the pass by. Another lap completed by car 72 from Uni Bremen.
First one under 100 seconds.
Yeah, definitely you can see the Bremen car improving on the time. They started out with a 105 and then doing a 105 seconds, I should say, and then doing a 100-second lap, and now they're already in the sub 100-second mark. And well, there you see it's the driver getting to know the track a little bit better, and maybe starting to push the car, feeling a bit more comfortable. And actually, it doesn't look too bad out there, to be honest. Car is driving along nicely, no big mistakes or power oversteers. It's all about, I think, getting this car home and scoring a lot of points in the endurance.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's not particularly fast, but it's, I think, a lot closer to the better times than they were yesterday, because they were quite far off pace then in the autocross track. So I think they had some troubles then, but this looks solid.
It looks like car 372 from Hamburg, 1106 racing team, will be the next car to take the green flag for endurance. Car from Darmstadt has been wheeled back temporarily at least. And car 372 from HSU Hamburg takes the green flag for endurance. This car has got some quite interesting bodywork. It's actually all 3D printed. It's the only car I can remember this year that has completely 3D printed bodywork. It's quite impressive.
So the goal for this team, as they indicated, was to pass scrutineering. So that they did, so very well done for that. The car's name is Rush 18, and this is their 6th attendance at Formula Student Germany. In the last 5 events, they finished 2 endurances, so that makes their finish rate about 40%, which is decent. Let's say if they can improve that in this event. Another clean lap from Bremen as they come to the horseshoe section. Let's see what they can do on the main straight. So let's take a look at the time when they come through, Austin.
Well, that was a bit slower, back down to 106.85. His fastest lap, the lap before, was 96.8, so about 10 seconds slower. I didn't see him have any issues, but perhaps just going a bit slower, conserving the battery.
So next up is UES Hochschule Ruhr-West. Car 119 from Mülheim am Rhein. Just hear the beep and just get a green flag. Off from a very cautious start, but they're off as well.
See Hamburg making their way around the circuit, just through the slalom and now approaching the horseshoe section of the track.
I think that the car from Bremen, car number 72, is now still the fastest car on track. They look a lot more nimble and swift than the other two. Then again, the driver did have some time to learn the track. So, first lap from car number 372. Team from HSU Hamburg. Coming past our commentary position in a 138.5. Also fired up here in the queue is the Ruhr-Uni Bochum, car number 248. And they will be followed by car number 354 from Karlstad, Sweden.
And car from Bremen crosses the line again, back in the 90-second range with a 98.4. Clearly the slow lap time on lap 5 is not a trend, which I think is good for them.
I think also the car from TU Darmstadt is now has been pushed out of the dynamic area. So they need to go back to their pits in order to fix whatever the issues they have. They were difficult to get started. So let's hope they can fix it and rejoin us just before lunch.
The car from Mulheim now just making its way to the last portion of his first lap. Steph mentioned going very steadily. Mulheim now rounding the last few corners. They cross the line to finish their first lap. The marshals just allowing some space, and I think they'll release the car from Bochum quite shortly. And Bochum get the green flag, and their endurance has started. This driver looks like he's pushing much harder than at least 2 of the 3 cars on track. Meanwhile, Hamburg has been given the blue flags, holding up car 72. Fortunately, the driver sees the blue flags and pulls into the passing area, allowing the car from Bremen to get past. Relatively little amount of time lost. Car from Hamburg taking out a cone through the cone killer chicane. Looks like the car from Bochum is slowly gaining on the car from Mulheim, so I won't be surprised if we see another blue flag situation before the end of this lap.
So Austin, what we see every year is that the officials elect to slowly build up the number of cars on track. Considering the fact that we have 18 cars that have not yet attended the endurance event, we will have, let's say, about 80 cars today on track, 75, 80. How many cars do we get simultaneously on track at the same time?
Towards the end of the day, we may get 5 or 6 cars on the track at one time. They try not to have too many more than that. earlier on in the day, they'll keep fewer cars on track because there is a bit of a higher speed differential and it gets very busy with blue flags early in the day. As I mentioned that, Bochum gets past Molheim in one of the passing areas. Driver from Bochum clearly going very quickly.
Yeah, they drove a 108.7, while Bremen now sets the fastest time of the day with 96.6.
Hamburg crosses the line for another lap complete.
Meanwhile, we are here from our commentary position taking a look at the scoring results of the statics for cost in both classes. So they have been published as well, apparently. One thing that caught our eye is that in the electric class, both Karlsruhe and Delft had scored 100 points. So Karlsruhe won it, but both number 1 and number 2 now have 100 points.
Yep, and we have a similar situation over at Business for electric, because both Stuttgart and Monash got first place and 75 points.
And meanwhile, Uni Bremen finishes the first half of their endurance. They've pulled into the pit lane to make their driver change.
Next car up is the car from Karlstad, Sweden. This also means that we have the car 118 from Hanover that was not able to make it to the queue. So good luck. Number car 354 from Sweden, Karlstad. Well, 372 has picked up some pace, I think. Yeah, it's a 112.79, so that's 15 seconds faster than their last lap.
Driver from Bochum is really pushing. He's taking out the same cone just after the Broken Dream section, about 4 laps in a row now.
Sections of the track during this driver change. Coming across the line now is the car from Müller am Rhein. This was their 4th lap in a 119, so an improvement for them. But they are a slower car on track at this moment, unfortunately. Karlstad looks like they're catching them. Yeah, it's a 111 already on their first lap. And also car 248 now gets the, well, the car in front of it actually gets the overtaking flag, the blue flag. They have to go to the side, and I think this was the first overtake of today. Car from Bochum now really flying out there. Again, a 93-second lap. This makes them the fastest car on track at the moment. While I'm going to take a look at the Bremen car again. Yep, they started. So they are coming to the green flag position now.
And they take the track once again. So Bremen can finish the last 9 laps of endurance now.
So we only started a small half an hour ago, and already we get a compliment on the live stream, but don't go away just yet, because we will get some fun today.
Meanwhile, Karlstad have caught up very quickly with Molheim, and they're going to have to go through quite this long section before there's a passing area. So not the best for Karlstad lap time. Driver is doing a good job of keeping a safe distance behind, not being too aggressive at the moment.
The next 2 cars in line, what I can see from here, is first Strathclyde, car number 215, and then up next is Aalborg car in front of the queue, car number 281, no, 281, sorry.
And And Karlstad safely passed Mulheim in one of the passing areas.
This might be quite fast, Austin. Karlstad definitely picking up some pace there. It's a 105.4 for them.
And they were stuck behind Mulheim for about 30 of those seconds, so expect them to be a bit quicker on this next lap now they have an open track in front of them.
Again, we will see an overtake shortly because it's car 248 catching up on them. Bochum, last lap in a 91.5.
So Clear River Racing from Karlstad wants to give a shout out to Renstal Esslingen for supplying them with a good fuel filler neck. Also Modena Racing for helping them in Italy, and TU Beno Racing for supplying them with head restraint material. So some nice teamwork going on between the different teams in the paddock, making sure all the teams can get on track and race.
Bremen car just stopped. They are on the first lap after the driver change. The red blinking light is still on. So I was just about to say that I don't expect any large problems, and luckily they managed to head off again.
Yeah, the attractive system active light is the light on top of the world loop for all the electric cars. If it's blinking red, that's good. It means the HV system is active. If at any point it stops blinking red and turns solid green, that means the HV system is no longer active and it's just low voltage power in the car. Bremen crosses the line after that lap, which they had a small drama. Followed closely by Karlstad Uni, Clear River Racing, and Uni Bochum, car 248. We've got the three wing cars on course, all within about 100 meters or so.
Yeah, Bochum was clearly stuck a little bit behind car 119. That cost them about 10 seconds if I look at the rest of their laps. Let's see if they can set again fastest time of the day, which is currently also from them. That was an 89.9.
And Bochum now passed Karlstad on the back straight, or the halfway straight.
I think they're also catching up quite fast on Bremen, so Bremen will get a blue flag, I think, in the next overtaking lane. Marshall already preparing it. Yep, there they go. Two cars overtake at the same time. I think that's a good call. So very well done from the officials there. So that means also that car 248 now has sort of a large headway in front of it. Let's hope that it can manage to get a clean lap in before it starts to approach Mulheim again.
And 248's taking out that same cone again. He's really struggling in that corner. Everywhere else he's quite quick, but it's just the corner between the Broken Dream section and the Horseshoe where he's having issues. But as you said, he's got a nice long open track in front of him, so this should be quite a quick lap time, as long as it doesn't catch the car from Hamburg too quickly.
In the queue as well is car number 318, Baltic Racing Stralsund, and car number 297 from UAS Schweinfurt. They are now being told to come into the front of the queue. Probably they're a bit late. They look a bit hasty as well. So let me take a look at the endurance running order, which can be found on the Formula Student website for our live stream viewers. So you can closely watch the queue. And indeed, Schweinfurt, car number 297, should be up next. Although, first we should get Chennai 250. I haven't seen them yet. And Hawks Racing, UAS Hamburg, car number 369. Also haven't seen them yet.
Mulheim completing another lap. Only a few seconds off their fastest lap time. It also looks like Bochum is actually going to catch up with Hamburg before the end of the lap.
Oh, that's a shame. I would like to have seen a purple time again from them.
Although I think it'll only be a second or two they lose, because Hamburg is just about to approach one of the overtaking zones, and Bochum is only just come up to the back of them and actually may not affect the time whatsoever. And Bochum gets past cleanly, and I think he may have lost half a second, but not much more than that.
So, purple times, yes or no? No, it's very close though to the fastest time of the day.
In the queue, the team from Schweinfurt, car 297, is being ready to join the action as well. Not sure if I think the officials will wait for the two cars that are up next for driver change, and may then leave Schweinfurt on the track.
And both Hamburg and Buckham are in the final lap before their driver changes. So we'll see if this driver for Buckham can set a purple lap time before handing over to the second guy. Once again, I think he'll have another clean lap. Molheim is quite a ways ahead.
Yep, and all cars that are on track are sort of clutched together, so the Schweinfurt car actually has enough space to join the action, and momentarily there's 6 cars here. But indeed, 2 cars are about to join us in the driver change area.
Here we have Schweinfurt on track with a very nice white and grey livery.
And Buckham making their way through the final few corners, getting the flag to come in for their pit stop. And the car from Buckham looks quite nice. I really like the livery they have, the white and the blue with the green accents.
They did manage to set their fastest lap in the final lap for this first driver, an 89.4, an improvement of about a half a second. Let's see if the second driver can be even faster. First though, to get through the driver change properly for them.
Clear River Racing completes another lap as Hamburg rounding the final few corners. See the official preparing the flag indicated to come in for the pit stop. Driver from Hamburg very slowly making his way around the first few corners and into the pit lane. So Thijs, you should see the car from Hamburg pulling in shortly now as well.
Yep, they're now in the driver change bay right next to the Bochum car, where not just the driver change, but also a helmet change between drivers is going on. Apparently they only have one of this size.
We've got a new fastest time of the day already in the first lap from UES Schweinfurt. Very well done from Mainfranken Racing. In the history of Formula Student Germany, they have been here 10 times before. They managed to complete 5 endurances, so that's about a 50-50 endurance finish rate. Let's hope they can improve this year.
That's fairly average, I think. 3 seconds quicker already in our first lap, indeed, than the fastest Bochum time we've seen so far, so that is promising.
Yeah, but it also means that the Schweinfurt car will be held up quite severely every now and then, because they are now significantly faster than a lot of other cars on track. And that is also what we told yesterday at the autocross event. It's so important to get a decent lap in, to be a little bit higher in the endurance running order in order not to have all these delays when running in the slower field.
And Molheim actually goes through the passing area without having seen a blue flag, but then pulls into the pit stop for their driver change.
We also said, oh no, they didn't. That was Bochum that sent a purple lap into the lap time.
Perhaps the driver did think he saw a blue flag, and in that case it's better to be safe than to be sorry, I think. Meanwhile, Schweinfurt coming through again, looking very quick. You can see the drivers pushing very hard.
84 seconds, very well done. So we already passed the 85-second mark, already this early on the day. Austin, what are we expecting in terms of lap times? Will we go around the 70-second mark, do you think?
I think we could probably get close to the 70-second mark towards the end of the day. I think the fastest time in autocross yesterday was a 66 point something for an electric car, 68 for combustion. I don't think it'll be quite as quick in the endurance because the cars have to last a bit longer, but I think sort of low 70s is a good target.
Guys, some updates from the queue here. There's car 215 from Strathclyde, frantically working to get their car started. I think they just managed it. It was a couple of anxious minutes because it did take a while. Meanwhile, there's 3 cars in driver change. It looks like Bochum has just about finished their driver change procedure. Looking good. Now start up the car. Right next to them, car 372 from Hamburg. Yep, Bochum has started and immediately stalled again, but I think they'll get it running. And next to those 2 cars, there's car 119. Molheim also working frantically to get through driver change.
Here comes Clear River Racing, their last lap before the pit stop. And Steph, you mentioned you heard something from the Schweinfurt car?
Yeah, in the left-hand horseshoe turn, it clacks a little bit. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I just heard it. It's got hashtag backfire in the rear wing, but it's certainly a bit of a clicking sound as it was making a right-hand turn, I think.
I would say it's some play on the chain or something. It's definitely drivetrain related.
All right, Uni Bochum now has successfully started the car and rolled up to the starting line, so they're waiting for a gap on track to be let on there. And they've been shown the green flag. And he almost stalls the car again, but now they're off.
That's always one of the most stressful parts about endurance, is pulling off after the driver change and not stalling. Quite often when the starter motors get hot, they become very, very difficult and very stubborn at times.
About the driver change, car number 372, HSU Hamburg, seems to struggle a bit when restarting, but now they have managed it. It was almost... Wow, team members were not looking happy. Oh, he stalled it again. No, this is not looking particularly well for them. It's on again.
I'm looking forward for the Schweinfurt time, because they have been improving by leaps and bounds in the last couple of laps. 2 seconds, then 4 seconds. So let's see if they can improve even further and get past the 80-second mark. No, only just. Maybe they were held up a bit. I didn't quite see that.
And Schweinfurt is clicking a little bit more than they were the last lap, so perhaps that problem is having some sort of impact on the lap time as well.
Some real drama here in the pit area, guys. Team members looking really desperate for the HSU Hamburg car.
Meanwhile, Strathclyde is fired up and about ready to take the green flag to start their endurance. Bochum, the second driver, taking out a very similar cone that the first driver kept taking out, and Strathclyde takes the green flag at endurance.
Main kill switch off for the Hamburg team. Or not. I thought the first driver approached it, but I think the new driver is still trying though.
Schweinfurt really stuck now.
I don't think Hamburg will rejoin us, guys. It's not a formal DNF yet, but it's not looking good. Starter motor is looking worse and worse every try. Yeah, battery's dead. It sounds quite empty.
And the Schweinfurt car stuck behind Bremen. Bremen going into the passing area. But I have to say, Steph, that clicking sound you noticed, the Schweinfurt car sounds a bit like a typewriter at the moment. Bochum quickly gaining.
Guys, the HSU Hamburg driver takes out a steering wheel. And they're going to get the push bar, so I'm afraid that is it for them. Unfortunately, a DNF. They were not able to restart their engine after driver change.
Bochum catching up to Strathclyde, and Strathclyde getting the blue flag here in front of us. Pulls into the passing area, and Bochum gets past with no drama.
So I think that is our first DNF for today, unfortunately. Give him a big hand. HSU Hamburg, car 372.
And the driver from Bochum, four-wheel drifting through the cone killer chicane. He was clear that lap. Very impressive driving. Meanwhile, Strathclyde takes out a cone as they go through the kink. Got a new car about to join us on track as well, car 318 from Baltic Racing at Stralsund.
Austin, have you been able to see if Schweinfurt got a clean lap in this time around?
I believe they did have a clean lap this time.
Well, I'm not sure. It was a 94-second lap now. I'm going to keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, they definitely slowed a bit since we started hearing the clacking sound a couple of laps ago.
And Stralsund take the green flag. It's one of my favorite sounding cars here today.
So Karlstad back to the green flag position. They managed to restart.
So there appears to be some confusion. Marshals are giving the blue flag to one car, and instead of the second car passing it, they went into the passing area as well.
Yeah, the Bochum car actually was intended to be able to overtake the car in front of him, but instead they queued up behind them in the blue overtaking zone. That has cost them a lot of time.
With all this happening, we've sort of let Bremen slip past us. They're actually on the last lap of endurance. Now they have about half a lap. Just coming back into the infield section of the course.
And finally now, Schweinfurt has managed to break the 80-second mark. It's 79.366. Good to see them back up to speed.
You know, Bochum is still trapped behind the slower car, now just getting past.
That has taken a lot of time for them.
Looks like Strausen may be carrying a cone underneath the nose. Saw a brief glimpse of it, and I could be making it up, but...
Oh no, not this again. Cone carrying for a couple of laps. No, I can't see any cones, Austin.
No, I was maybe a bit ahead of myself.
Wishful thinking. Meanwhile, in the second to last corner, the car from Bremen. And if they finish, this would be their very first completed endurance here in Germany.
Well, they're going to do it.
Yes, they will. Will not go wrong now. The very first car to complete endurance, car number 72 from Bremen.
Across the line very cautiously. Congratulations, guys. First car to start endurance and first car to finish.
Big round of applause for Bremen. Meanwhile, Schweinfurt has now caught up to the back of the Mulheim car. He's very close. Maybe you should give him a few more meters in case there are any issues from Mulheim.
What does the saying say? To first finish, you first have to start, or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
To finish first you must finish.
Yeah, or start first. Then you're also finishing first.
That works too.
All right, Schweinfurt again, held up we got a bit. They, I think they had some problems yesterday in autocross because they set 2 times which were about 10 seconds apart. So that indicates that they, well, not everything was ideal for them.
Schweinfurt now on their last lap before the driver change.
So effectively, Schweinfurt is sort of running a little bit out of order for where they could normally be, and it really is hurting them right now.
100% Strausen has at least one cone carrying with them right now. I'm
They
not
do
making
now,
this
yes.
one up.
They absolutely do. I agree, Austin.
I think they may have 2 as well. Maybe being optimistic again. One sort of in the right side pod and one sort of underneath. I can see one for sure.
So he got it in lap 2. So let's count how many laps he can carry it. The engine on the Schweinfurt car also sounds quite well, Austin. I don't know whether I like this one better or the Baltic Racing car. I think I prefer the Schweinfurt car.
The Schweinfurt car is sounding a bit loud, but it's definitely a bit loud. But it does sound really good. I do like the Baltic Racing sound as well.
Schweinfurt, very, very loud. That is a new development.
Formula 1 was 2 weeks
I
ago,
can see
right?
packing shooting out the back of the exhaust from Schweinfurt. They're pulling into the driver change area, so perhaps one of you can go have a look and see if the scrutineers find anything on that car.
They will want to have a look. Immediately, scrutineers run over towards the exhaust manifold to have a look at that.
Yeah, the car was definitely sounding very loud. I don't think they will do a noise test in Parc Fermé, right, Thijs? That's quite unusual.
I don't know, they might. Cars have to be compliant. Seeing worrying signs though.
I think the noise is definitely a symptom of something going wrong. They perhaps will find another issue.
Well, from the looks on the faces of the officials, there is something visible on the car not right.
I think the DNF also has been confirmed now, so it was a clear-cut case.
Schweinfurt was flying out there. They were by quite a margin the fastest car on track. First of the day to break the 80-second barrier. But unfortunately, this is it for them. They, a couple laps ago, started making a lot more noise and have now unfortunately been DNF'd.
I do not understand why there was no blue flag, actually. Car 215, Strathclyde, now getting the blue flag.
Oh, and he's just seen it at the last minute. It was a very late call from the marshal there.
The car from car 248 definitely had to brake very vigorously there at the previous overtaking lane. was a bit unsafe because it catched up on the other car just after the hairpin. Couldn't really see it.
Meanwhile, Stralsund looks to be catching up to Clear River Racing. Clear River Racing be given the blue flag. Meanwhile, car 281 from Aalborg University takes the green flag for endurance. Oh, there appears to be some issue for Bochum at the far end of the track. Strathclyde being allowed past. Bochum is stopped just in front of the stands of the north curve. They've got going again. I'm not sure if it was an off course or he hit a cone or what. We'll obviously monitor the situation as they make their way closer to us.
Is Karlstad catching up on Baltic Racing, or were they just overtaken?
It was the other way around. Baltic Racing just passed Karlstad.
Good. We missed that due to the Bochum car.
There's yellow flags again. I think Bochum has stalled again in the far hairpin. No, they're moving again. They still have about 2.5 laps to go.
Baltic Racing has lost the cone meanwhile, but that engine does sound so good. It's almost like a miniature version of a Porsche Flat 12.
That is quite specific, Austin. Let's see if Bochum makes it through this lap properly. They have 2 laps after this. They have stalled twice though now on this lap alone.
And Strathclyde's having some issues entering the horseshoe. I've seen them slow down a few times in that area of the course. I'm not sure if it's the slow nature of that corner.
Again, a situation just in front of the Bochum car. I think this driver's getting tired of it.
And Bochum car is being asked to pass. You know, these teams have passed each other about 3 or 4 times this lap. I think it must be close to a record in Formula Student.
So very eventful lap for Bochum in particular this. They now have some clean air though. Let's see if they can keep ahead of the Strathclyde car.
The car from Bochum still sounds okay as it goes past.
Baltic Racing is stalling as well, guys. Yeah.
Stralsund pulling off the track.
Yeah, the driver elects on his own choice to go a little bit outside of the track. I think that's a good call to get out of the way of the Karlstad car, who he only recently, last lap, overtook.
And
Stralsund's going again.
Linköping, meanwhile, in the queue. Car number 362 has fired up their engine as well. They will be followed by Pforzheim, car number 272 from TU Dortmund, and after that the team from Clausthal.
Bochum, meanwhile, has gotten through the area where they stalled twice previously over at the Noordkurve, and they're now catching up quickly to car 119. Unfortunately, the next blue overtaking area is quite a while away, and now they're stuck only in the slalom already.
Well, Baltic Racing is on track. I've noticed we haven't seen Walfred the Dolphin yet this year. I wonder what's happened to Walfred.
Wow, the driver from Bochum really close now to the other car in front of it.
No point whatsoever in doing that, of course.
So far 2 DNFs, the team from Schweinfurt and the team from Hamburg, car number 297 and 372. The rest is still going. And Bremen has finished, of course.
Bochum is about to be shown the last lap sign. The Strathclyde is now right behind them, but that is because both of them were stuck behind car 119. Let's see if Bochum can build up a little bit of a lead.
And Aalborg goes past us now.
For anyone on the live stream asking for overviews, there is a website for that. It's tk.formulastudent.de. So TK for timekeeping.formulastudent.de.
Guys, Stralsund again has stopped by the side of the track.
And meanwhile, car 362 from Linköping University takes the green flag.
It looks like Bochum is able to keep ahead of the Stralsund car so far.
Aalborg overtaking the Mülheim car.
And the Bochum driver really pushing on this last lap sideways as he enters the infield section of the track. There's a yellow flag on course for the Stralsund car, I believe. So both Strathclyde and Bochum slow down.
I think Strathclyde was catching up on Bochum.
They've been right behind each other for a bit because both of them were caught up behind car 119, but I think they're quite evenly paced actually. Oh, a bit of a slide into that very tight section there for Bochum.
They've been taking out that cone all day. I figured maybe one last time they'd give it a kiss.
Last couple of corners now. Last time to the slingshot to the straight in the back here. And Bochum is about to finish their endurance. Car 248. Oh, and they missed the finish. They were shown the finish line, and the driver doesn't know what to do, sort of stops the car in the middle of the track. And yeah, yellow flag's being waved because that Bochum car is positioned very poorly.
We have seen in the past also drivers missing the finish flag and failing to go in. We have seen one parade lap, as we have called it before, but this I think we haven't seen, and I'm not sure whether it will count as a finished endurance because it's not on its own force into the area, right?
I think it will, but it will probably be an off course or something.
Yeah, that would be the wise thing to do, I would say.
Meanwhile, Stralsund has got going again in all that drama.
Car 362 moving very slowly through the yellow section here.
All the cars observing yellow flags very well. It was quite uncanny how sort of unison they were.
Luckily they're gone now again, but this has sort of backed up a whole bunch of cars right behind each other.
The next two cars that would complete endurance, both on their 16th lap, are the team from Karlstad, the black and yellow car, and the team from Mülheim aan de Rijn, car 119. Strathclyde stalled the engine again, but it got going. It's quite close to each other there at the end at the north curve. Three cars following each other quite closely.
I think car 119 is going ever slower.
Well, Strathclyde make it to their pit stop.
It does seem that Linköping is catching up on Karlstad already for a while. They have been closely chasing them. I'm waiting for a blue flag personally, but I think that the marshals might be a little bit distracted by the situation with Baltic Racing going on, but I honestly don't understand this. Baltic Racing now catching up on the Mülheim car. I think the Mülheim car is now being overtook 1 to 2 times per lap at least. Definitely one of the slower cars on track. I think they have to save some battery there.
Yeah, I think they basically have to enter the overtaking lane basically every time they encounter one, unfortunately. But they're still going, and they don't have that far to go anymore.
It was quite funny. There have been a few instances where the driver from Mülheim has pulled into the overtaking areas without a blue flag, so perhaps he's doing the same thing and doing it just in case.
They still have 2 laps to go, where he's on his 2nd lap last.
The pit stop from Strathclyde looks to be going to plan so far. The scrutineers seem happy. The team is just...
Oh, and Karlstad's wing just came off. The rear wing broke off as they were closing in on Linköping. I'm not sure the driver has noticed it yet though, because he's still pushing.
Red flag, anyone? Or are they going to allow it to have to the meatball to continue driving for half a lap with this car?
I think they're trying to flag the car down, but marshals were a bit late.
I think this would be a red flag normally. What do you think, Mickey? You have a little bit more experience than me.
Well, this is just very dangerous at the moment. That wing can fall off and injure anybody, so I would not have waited half a lap to get the car in for a meatball. Definitely a black flag out on track. It's so dangerous, this.
Okay, well, they did make it safely to the driver change area, where surely they will unfortunately be DNF'd.
In better news, I can hear the Strathclyde car is fired back up. Some thumbs up from the driver, and keeping the revs high, he manages to get it rolling.
Sorry, Austin. Baltic Racing stalled again on track with a yellow flag situation going on now. And we have a last lap sign coming up for car 119 from Mülheim.
The scrutineers looking at the rear wing from Clear River Racing.
Strathclyde stalled just now. Is struggling to restart as well. Car's now being pushed out of the way, I think. Oh no, the other car is being directed around it. Very well done. But Strathclyde, the guy should wait a little bit and not drain the battery too much.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Karlstad over here. The driver, I think, has just been told the rear wing has come off.
I think you notice that, right, if you're driving? Or maybe not.
Maybe he was just sort of playing dumb, hoping to keep going.
Again, a stall for Baltic Racing.
Drum all over. It looks like Linköping is tearing a cone in the right side pod.
So Baltic Racing stalled on track. Strathclyde still not restarted. And the longer it takes, the more the battery will be drained. So I really hope they can fire it up.
Whoa!
Linköping, a lot of smoke coming out of the tires.
I think he must have had a cone stuck under the front right. I think there's a cone jam somewhere preventing him from steering.
I think it's front left. The something definitely not a-okay there.
He definitely outbraked himself as they came into the last turn before the start-finish line. There's drama everywhere on track.
Yeah, I see a cart being rolled towards the Linköping car now, so it's definitely something with suspension. Or not.
You can see Karlstad being wheeled away, so I think it's a DNF for them. A valiant effort, but big round of applause for Karlstad, Clear River Racing.
Linköping going again.
Did Strathclyde get going again as well?
No, they're still stalled.
No, they just fired up again. I think that must have been very close with the a lot of time that they have for doing so.
Now don't stall it, please. Yes, and he's off, so now we should be in the clear.
First driver also had some trouble getting that car running and keeping it running.
Third car to complete endurance, car 119 from Mülheim aan Rijn. They will make it now. And yes, they enter the area here.
Good job for car 119 from Mulheim. Big round of applause. They weren't the fastest car on the track, but they kept going and they made it to the end. They saw lots of their foes fall halfway, have failures, but they made it. Good job, car 119.
I also think I saw some leakage here in front of us, maybe from the Aalborg car. Could be water. Mickey, take out your binoculars to look at the Aalborg car, because
I can certainly smell something.
Linköping again, shot straight through the corner.
We don't think it's water. We can smell a little bit of oil, right, Austin?
Yeah, it smells like oil. It's definitely not water. Also wondering what the Linköping issue is. If it's a failure on the car or driver being a bit too aggressive.
Engine is still running.
Could also have been the Linköping car, or are you sure it was the Aalborg car, Thijs? So Aalborg still looking strong, so maybe it was just water. They are allowed to leak a little bit of water. Well, another car stalled on track there.
Meanwhile, we've been asked on the live feed what happens if a car misses its time slot. They will.
Yep, there is smoke coming from the Aalborg car now. I hope that's not indicative of anything bad.
Oh, there's another car stalled.
Yeah, that is Baltic Racing again. I'm not quite sure how many stalls they will allow for this car per lap, because they are stalling almost every lap now, or even twice a lap.
Anyways, if a car does miss its time slot, they will be allowed to take part at the end of the respective session. They will be subjected to a 120-second penalty though, so if you're looking for a team that you think should have gone already but hasn't, it's possible they'll get the car ready in time and start later on in the day.
Get Racing Dortmund on track as well on their first lap, because of all the drama going on around and in the track. We didn't see them.
And there's some more drama. I can see Marshall's running. I can't see what car it is. It's in the one spot.
Yeah, that's probably
no
Baltic Racing
of.
again, because the rest I can still see driving.
Mickey can confirm with his large binoculars that it is Stralsund. It stopped again. And TU Dortmund completes their first lap. Linköping locking up the right front again.
I also think that race control might have missed the driver change for the Stralsund team, because I do have 9 lap times for them.
Aalborg, meanwhile, is again having some blue smoke from the back, but they are now about to enter the driver change area for the halfway point. And I'm sure the officials will be eager to have a look at that left side pod on the rear section on that car.
Oh, and the Linköping driver getting the car sideways through the horseshoe.
You can also clearly see that the Linköping car is quite difficult to drive. A lot of hisses and puffs in the low revs, and then suddenly, boom, a lot of power. So for the driver, it is difficult to drive this car. Smoke coming out of the Aalborg car now.
Looks like Baltic Racing is back underway, going very slowly and gingerly around the circuit.
Car 281, Aalborg University, unfortunately has been DNF'd. There is smoke still coming from that back end, and I think we saw some probably coolant leaking from the left side pod earlier on, so that would explain the overheating issues.
Is it Strathclyde has stopped again?
Stalling a little bit again. They are looking at another car. Let me check. We have Baltic Racing still here. We have Dortmund still here.
There's Linköping moving.
Linköping still there.
Baltic Racing about to come in for a slightly delayed driver change. So their second driver will have to drive 8 laps instead of 9.
Yeah.
As the first one now did 10 instead of 9.
Yeah, it must be Strathclyde at the far end. Let me take a look at the live stream.
Yeah, the Linköping car is really backfiring quite a lot, especially at low revs, as you mentioned earlier, Steph. He's really struggling to get through the low-speed corners.
Yeah, it's definitely not the easiest car, and also under braking, you can see it lock up quite early.
He's just understeered, and he's picked up a cone perfectly in his side pod.
Then again, it is still going. I don't think they have had a lot of issues yet.
Just like Pac-Man, I think. Another lock-up. Yeah, the cone's just...
It might be that the cone is the reason for all the lockups on the front.
Strathclyde still frantically trying to restart, but their time has now run out. And unfortunately, they have now been confirmed a DNF. The car has a allotted amount of time to try and restart a car, and typically officials are somewhat lenient with that as well.
Yeah, valiant effort for Strathclyde. They deserve a big round of applause.
Yeah,
they had some issues and they pushed as far as they could. Meanwhile, TU Dortmund takes an alternate racing line, sort of off course around the outside of the turn before the wing section. Is still going, but will have a penalty applied due to that.
So looking at the driver queue, we should have had Pforzheim by now, but they were not able to start their car. Up next will be Uni Napoli, car number 222, followed by Fachhochschule Aachen, car number 263. And after that is the team from Hock Göttingen. It's quite an action-packed endurance so far, and it will be even more so, because TU Clausthal is joining the track. Last lap sign being readied. I think that's for the Linköping car. Yep, they should be on their last lap before the driver change.
Still carrying that cone with him in the front left corner of the car.
It does look good, the yellow cone with the blue. It's the Swedish colors again, so.
Yeah, so after a very good start for the teams in terms of reliability, we had 3 out of the first 4 cars finishing their endurance. After that, though, we've had a couple more that failed, unfortunately, that didn't make it to the end. Karlstad only had 1 lap left to go when their wing broke off, and a couple of other teams that had some trouble with their engines. Let's see if the current batch that is on track can actually make it to the end.
A car from Dortmund revving the engine. Not quite normal, but they're still going. Meanwhile, I can see car 318 from Baltic Racing has managed to refire after the driver change, pulling up to the restart area. Just letting Linköping go past and pull into the driver change area now, trading spots. I think Baltic Racing should be let on track within the next few seconds. And yep, there they are. They're giving the green flag. Driver sets off very smoothly. And Baltic Racing now in the second half of their endurance.
Up next is Unina Corse, Squadra Corse Federico II from Napoli.
That was very impressive, Steph. And they get the green flag. I'm just going to call them car 222.
Napoli you should be able to manage, right?
Yeah, I think I could do Napoli.
You had a very good Politecnico di Milano yesterday in the award ceremony, Austin. I gotta hand it to you.
Yeah, I really excelled myself there. Not sure I could do it again if I tried, though. And here comes Klausthal through. I think this is their second lap.
Up next would be the team from Fachhochschule Aachen. They're now in front of the queue, followed by Haag Göttingen.
Just a reminder, the fastest lap is still from Schweinfurt before they failed. Time of 79.36, the only car to get under 80 seconds so far in endurance.
Austin, did Baltic Racing stall in the last couple of laps? I can't seem to recall. They stalled a lot earlier. Now they seem to be going strong.
Since the driver change, they've been out for a lap. They had a successful last lap before the driver change. He's taking some cones with him. I think he's got 2 again now. But yeah, the car seems to be running a bit more smoothly and the engine still sounds good. So I'm not sure what the problem is that the first driver was having.
Yeah, in fact, the last lap for this driver was about as fast, almost, as the fastest lap for the first driver. So this car is back up to speed.
It looks like TU Dortmund has come to a stop just before the horseshoe. Marshals are running over. The driver looks to be resetting some things on the dash. Yellow flags being shown. The other car is being waved around now.
Linköping, meanwhile, looking good in the driver change area. Everything seems to be in order, and the driver just restarted the engine. Car 362, about to approach the starting line again.
Stralsund is carrying 2 cones at the moment, one on the front right, one on the front left. Looks to stall going through the slalom though, so Stralsund Baltic Racing has stalled right at the end of the slalom. Sounds like TU Dortmund has got the car refired in the meantime. TU Dortmund back rolling again. But Baltic Racing looks to be stopped after the slalom. They're just pushing the driver off the track, not to cause any issues. Yellow flags being shown. Napoli slowing right down.
TU Dortmund, they improved their last lap time previous time around, but of course we're stalled now for a bit. And as soon as they're clear here, Linköping will be allowed to rejoin the action.
And Stralsund has got going once again. Napoli having issues with the low-speed corner. Yeah, Linköping back on track now. Let's see if the second driver has any less problems with the handling of that car than the first driver did. You know, Stralsund shoots a cone out at one of the marshals as it comes through the horseshoe. Here's Napoli, which is also making a bit of a clicking sound.
Stralsund still carrying those 2 cones in the front suspension.
Up to the green flag position now. It's car 363 from Fachhochschule Aachen. They've turned on and are about to be released. I think just after the Klausthal car. They might wait a little bit. From Aachen, first driver is named Willy. Second driver is named Trucker Ronnie, and they're here with only 8 people, and they built the car with only 4 or 5 team members, so that is really impressive from car 363 Aachen.
And Dortmund having problems in the slow speed corner just before the horseshoe again. They managed to keep going this time, but they were really close to stalling, and Aachen takes the green flag.
I don't think there's anything wrong per se with the car except for its turning radius.
Get Racing's car is named Rutger because one of the videos on YouTube, which is popular in their team, driver names are Phil and Donnie.
And Stralsund Racing manages to get rid of all the cones it was carrying by running into some other cones, which displaced the cones that were already in the car. Not sure if that was a clever bit of strategy or another incident. But Stralsund still continuing on.
Actually, it was their best time of the day with 88.4, which is quite significantly faster than their first driver was able to do.
It's probably because he took a massive shortcut that lap, taking out some cones.
Yeah, probably.
Klaus Stahl is still circulating, pretty uneventfully in the grand scheme of things. They're clicking from the Aachen car.
When they are coasting. On their acceleration it's okay, and then when they are braking or coasting, that's when the clicking sound happens. That's typical driver-train issue. Not necessarily a bad thing.
UAS Aachen on the first lap, 98.3.
And TU Dortmund being shown the last lap board before their pit stop. And the officials looking at the Linköping car, it does sound like it's making a bit of a scraping noise. I'm not sure if Mickey can have a closer look with his binoculars.
The second driver is significantly faster than the first one so far, though.
Speaking to Mickey, it looks like the left side pod having some problems for Linköping. I think it's dragging a little bit.
It's usually an indication for either a side pod failure or, and that would be worse, suspension issues.
Hopefully for them it's just a cone or something stuck underneath.
They are definitely scraping, but it might be that the side pod is a little bit hanging a little bit lower.
Here comes Klaus Stahl again. They get a big cheer from the stands every time they drive past.
Nice consistent lap times from them, around the 92-second mark. Let's see how UAS Aachen is going to do in their second lap.
Yeah, it's amazing how consistent Klaus Stahl has been. We're perhaps not speaking about them as much as some of the others because they're just going around and not have any dramas. So good job to Klaus Stahl so far.
Next up on track is car number 171, die Hochschule für Angewandte Wissenschaft und Kunst Göttingen.
And TU Dortmund pulls into the pits for their driver change. The officials still looking at the side pod of Linköping.
Linköping just set a blazing lap.
Yeah, they're probably using ground effects now to get around the corners.
I'm actually very happy that the marshals were quite lenient on Baltic Racing on their first stint with a lot of stalls, because this stint looks a lot better for them, for the second driver, so good work from them.
Yeah, Linköping must have cut the track or something because that lap time is shit.
Oh wow, there's a car on fire. It's Stralsund. It is very dramatic. Let's hope the driver can get out quickly.
Oh,
He looks...
The driver's out,
fine.
driver's out.
Driver's out. That was dramatic. I hope the driver's fine. He's being checked now by the officials.
The fire guys were outside their truck, so they had to get in. So they're now being told to wait, and now they go on track.
And the driver's got his helmet off. I think the driver's fine. So that's one good thing, a very quick response from the marshals. You know, the fire truck is now pulling onto the track just to make sure the fire will be completely out.
I have to say, it's a little bit messy here.
It's a bit of chaos down here. The Aachen car is stalled.
I'm not sure why they're electing to wave yellow, because they want the cars to stop, which usually should be a red flag, right, Mickey?
Definitely a red flag situation. We can see the fire truck out on track. and they are waving yellow flags instead of a red flag. This is definitely a red flag situation in my book. Stop all the cars out on track until the fire marshals are done. That's the safest way to go. Now all the cars are overtaking each other. There's a fire truck out on track. Not a safe situation at the moment.
Yeah, I have to say, well, let's not say too much about it.
I think the important thing is the driver's out and the driver is safe, and the marshals that responded to the initial incident got the fire out very quickly. Coming around past us now. This will be their 14th lap once they cross the line. And the car from Napoli following them as well as the car from Aachen.
It's definitely one of the largest fires I've ever seen in Formula Student.
Yeah, it really took over the whole of the car from our spot anyways. And Napoli coming past us once again.
Klaus is in for the driver change.
Linköping making their way past us again, car 362.
Fire truck is now slowly coming back. Still they elect to keep all the cars running. It's now in quite a dangerous spot as well.
I'm not entirely sure what the fire truck driver is doing. You're seeing Napoli be given the last lap board before their pit stop. And Aachen continuing to circulate as well. Feel a bit bad for these teams who have been out with this yellow flag through chaos.
Yeah, definitely impacted their time. That's quite unfortunate. If the marshals would have elected, or the officials would have elected to choose for a red flag situation, the time would have been stopped for them, and it would be far more level playing field. So, especially considering the gravity of the situation and the fact that the fire truck had to come all the way from the other end of the track, the election to continue on with yellow, Mickey, is not necessarily our choice.
Obviously I'm not head of the organization committee here, but in my opinion it would be a lot safer and a lot more level playing field for everybody if it would have been a red flag, obviously. I mean, there's a lot of pressure out there and a lot of things going on. There were cars stalling, one car got on fire, and anyway, they made a decision, and it all worked out in the end, and everything was sort of safe. And let's continue with the endurance.
Yeah, and as you were speaking, Mickey, I can hear TU Dortmund revving their engine, making sure not to stall. They've got the car refired after the driver change. The driver pulls off and he restarts after endurance, after the pit stop. And meanwhile, through all this, Napoli has just about finished the first half of their endurance, being shown the flag to come in for their driver change. Hawkins still making a bit of a clicking noise under deceleration. Linköping still circulating amid all of this chaos. They've been involved a little bit themselves, but about to be being shown the last lap board. One more lap for Linköping now. Klaus Dahl passes the, TU Dortmund understeers, goes off track in the last corner, manages to get going again. And Klaus Dahl completed their 9th lap. I would have expected Klaus Dahl to come in the pits on this lap, but it looks like they've been kept out for an extra lap.
Did they again miss the driver change?
I think so, yeah. They're showing has completed 9 laps. Meanwhile, Linköping power slides to the last few corners. Car number 362 from Linköping has finished endurance here at Formula Student Germany. A big round of applause for them. That was a very eventful run.
Bra, bra, Vicke, bra.
They had a bit of everything in that run. I think probably more things than IKEA has.
Oh, not the IKEA joke again. And remember, we still have 3 Swedish teams left to go.
Klaus Dahl is very slowly coming around the corner. Hopefully they can be shown the It's possible that Klaus Dahl has actually been into the pits and I missed that and missed all the drama. That's my fault.
I think we missed it in all the drama.
Yeah. I didn't actually report on it, but they have been here and they have had a successful driver change.
It's so difficult for us and for all the officials to be able to monitor everything that's going on. This is definitely one of the most eventful morning sessions we've ever had.
Yeah, a little bit less drama would be fine for me, but let's see what the rest of the session is going to bring.
Got a little bit of rest back again, Austin. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I've just had a chance to catch my breath as car 171 heads out. That's the car from Hawk Göttingen. It's the start of their endurance.
I had to wait quite a while because I can remember about 10 minutes ago I already said they're about to come, but...
Yeah, I had to double check they weren't coming back out for their pit stop because they'd been sitting there a while, I think, before we had the thermal incident. Klaus still going round as TU Dortmund having problems with that corner once again. The driver keeps outbraking themselves.
The corner at the far end of the track now misses 2 cones, so they cannot hit them, luckily for them. I think the marshal is going to replace them now.
And Aachen gets the flag to come in for their driver change.
So we have now the first lap coming round for car 171, Hawk Göttingen, blue flash team. Car name is Diva because the car likes to act like a diva.
Do you know any Formula Student cars that don't act like divas, Steph?
Nah, usually it's the drivers actually.
Here comes car from Napoli once again.
Actually, we have a battle going on the track because Hawk Göttingen indicates that they would like to beat the green car that's driving from TU Clausthal, but not on track necessarily, but in the flunky tire.
Well, let's see if they can keep up the speed for the rest of their endurance, because if they do, I think there'll be a match for Clausthal on the track. Clausthal, although, is already well in the way of their second half of their endurance run.
Hawk Göttingen has been here before, but in both events here in Germany, they're unfortunately not able to finish endurance. So this is also a team that if they finish, it would be their first time ever.
Just a quick remark about the current scoreboard. There is a note at the bottom that says that the fastest time so far is a 72.172. We, however, believe that to be an erroneously tripped timing beacon, and the fastest time we've seen so far is actually a 79.37 from Schweinfurt. The overall time from the car that this fastest time, the 72, has been assigned to, has not been affected, but the in-between lap times should be disregarded in that sense.
Say this driver from Napoli is very smooth for an Italian.
What are you trying to say with that, Austin?
Usually they like to be quite exuberant drivers, drifting through all the corners, whereas this guy is very hitting his apexes and just getting on with the lap.
Yeah, they're known for their passionate driving styles, if you ask me.
First lap from the Oscar Racing team from the Fachhochschule Wien. 90.3 seconds, so that's quite a fast first lap. In fact, it is the very fastest first lap of the day, except for the team from Schweinfurt that we saw earlier, which unfortunately had a DNF.
UAS Aachen are refiring their engine in the driver change area.
Hawk Göttingen just rearranged the track a little bit, missed the corner. In front of the queue now, first car to be released will be UAS Heilbronn, car number 239.
Yep, car 363 from Fachhochschule Aachen, about to rejoin the track. And right after Napoli blasts by, Aachen is allowed to rejoin the track.
First driver from Aachen on his first lap did a 1:16 second lap. So let's see what the second driver can do. As Vienna now is flying past here, so Rusty but Lusty flying by in 87.3. And Heilbronn fired up and now approaching the green flag position, so they will rejoin us. Next in line will be UAS Ostfalia, car number 35. Hawk Göttingen doing a very good job and maintaining distance from the TU Dortmund car. Lucky for them, because TU Dortmund did stall a little bit in the corner just now. If they were a little bit closer, they would have maybe run into them, but they get the blue flag now, so they can whiz by with their electric car. Second driver from Napoli set his fastest lap in lap 11, so that was his second lap. He has slowed down 5 seconds since then, so I don't know if he was overtaken or not. Oh, we have a yellow flag situation. That's the Get car from Dortmund, stalling on track. I saw them earlier when Hawk was just behind them, already having difficulties with the engine. Nearly stalled it already twice. Napoli doing a good job there at overtaking them very cautiously.
The driver from Klaus had a very exciting moment as he entered the horseshoe. He ran over a cone and sort of the front of the car jumped up in the air as he used it almost as a ramp. No cone's still stuck and he's still going.
Dortmund are in their 16th lap already, so they have about 2.5 laps to go, as do the Clausthal team, now also in lap 16. So now we see the Oscar team. Already I thought they should have been given a blue flag earlier. They're definitely being held up for quite a while now. But they will be given the blue flag now. So that's good from them.
Yeah, the car from Napoli understeered and picked up a cone and is now dragging a cone. The driver's going a bit slower now, which doesn't help Johnny, the car from Vienna. He gets past now, and the driver was very patient there. He could have easily have gotten a bit closer and a bit more dangerous, but he performed really well there.
Austin, that's that for Dortmund. The driver is now out. So unfortunately, in their 16th lap, a DNF for car 272 from Dortmund.
They deserve a round of applause. They've sort of had a fair share of drama in this endurance run. So good job, Dortmund, even though they didn't quite make it to the finish.
Done. Close but no cigar. That's what you say in UK, right, Austin?
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Clausthal whizzes by. They are now on their second to last lap.
Here comes Hawk going again.
It seems that after the Oscar Racing team had passed Napoli, Napoli is able to catch up with them at least, sort of maintain the pace. However, it can also be due to the yellow flag situation at the far end in the Nord curve just now. Because now clearly car number 299 is pulling away from Napoli.
And car number 35 from Westphalia takes the green flag now as well for their endurance. Team Waab Racing from Germany.
After that, it will be car number 221, UAS Gießen, and car number 365, UAS Rhein-Main.
Yeah, we've been talking about it all week, Steph, but the car from Vienna is a really cool paint job. It's sort of a faux antique finish on it.
So the Marshal is getting the last lap sign ready. That will be for the green car from Clausthal. So give them a big cheer to start their last lap.
The car from Aachen is making its way back towards us again. looking a little slow, but I don't think anything to worry about. Oh, sorry, it's not Aachen, it's car number 35.
Yeah,
Westphalia.
Yeah. First lap already in the 96.0.
Got a very similar color scheme to the Aachen car, both black and white.
On track now, einfach genießen mit UAS Gießen. Can't remember the Gießen driver on autocross, slipping and sliding quite a lot. Should be quite a spectacular and entertaining drive for them.
Yeah, hopefully it's the same guy.
We had a brief yellow flag situation.
Sure. I think Vienna may be having some small problems.
Vienna definitely slowed because Napoli is catching up on them again.
And this is on. Napoli's now on their last lap, so let's wheel them on to get around one last time.
We've got a finish flag over here. It's not for Aachen though, it is for Clausthal. On their first ever completion of the endurance here in Germany. Car number 142 from Clausthal, and the team absolutely goes wild here. UAS Rhein-Main fired up their engine as well. Car number 365 with a very distinct black and yellow and red livery. Must be because of the Belgian flag, I think, or might it be for the German flag? I don't know.
I'm going to decline to comment on that one, Steph.
I can see also here a meatball flag being readied. I don't know for which car it is. But
could be for Vienna, since they were having issues the last lap. It is University Napoli's last lap, so it's not going to be for them. Although Napoli are going very slowly. Come on, Napoli. Car number 222 from Unina Racing. Meanwhile, car 365 from Rhein-Main takes the green flag. Napoli now down the last straight, final few corners.
Squadra Corse, Federico Secondo finishing the endurance. Meatball is for Vienna, for Rusty but Lusty.
Looks like a problem with the left rear. The sort of toe link looks like it might be broken for Vienna. The wheel is sort of swaying in and out. And Hawk Göttingen get the flag for their driver change.
Yeah, that looks very loose on the left rear for car 299. Three scrutineers now jumbled about the car.
Austin, the Gießen car, car number 221, that's now overtaking Westphalia. Let's take a look at it. It's sounding very well, and the driver's doing a good job at entertaining us as well.
There's been a drama over at the 299 car. The second driver came running towards the car thinking this was driver change. But 299 only had finished 7 laps, unfortunately, and was in for a meatball flag. And I'm sad to report that it is now a DNF for them. The left rear suspension was deemed inappropriate, unfit to continue the race. Give them a big hand. They were giving it their best.
So Napoli just finished their endurance. We are joined now by the Squadra Corse from Pisa University. And I think the Italians like to shorten it a little bit to Unipisa, like Unina. And we saw a little bit more in Italy a couple of weeks ago, where we saw a fantastic endurance as well. Can highly recommend that one as well. So I think this might be the first clean lap for Gießen. 85.5 so far was their fastest time.
And Gießen are the fastest car on track at the moment.
Yeah, they did. Gießen set at 82.49. So approaching the 80-second mark there. The Rhein-Main seems to not have a lot of drive.
Yeah, it looks like a very difficult to control car. He's certainly trying to reorganize all the cones around the course.
It is a very good looking car though.
coming through an 83.29, so it is a significant improvement. And it looks like we might get a little battle between Gießen and Wiesbaden. And both of them might even be able to challenge the fastest time we've seen so far, the 79.37 from Schweinfurt earlier.
You can also hear that the team 219 from Technion University Haifa, Israel, has fired up their engine. They will join shortly. I think it's Tal Lipschitz again.
Yep, in the lightest car of the competition.
Yeah, he's got the black helmet with that team.
Gießen catching up on Wolfenbüttel, Ostfalia. No, it's Aachen, sorry. Aachen now getting the blue flag. I think Gießen only was held up a little bit by this, so this is good marshalling.
It will hurt him a little bit, so we'll have to wait for that sub 80-second mark.
Big power slide there for the Rhein-Main car. And he definitely is again rearranging the track in the horseshoe turns here.
Whoa, big spin for Rhein-Main as he comes through the horseshoe. He has test up, he's rearranging the track, he's backfiring, he's got it going again.
He was sort of aiming for a 360 it seemed, but then he sort of turned it into a type of J-turn. It was quite spectacular.
If he would have kept it going, that would have been a really good drift. He would have gotten a lot of points.
The car does look very difficult to drive from a powertrain perspective because vehicle dynamics look quite okay.
We've got some traffic for Pisa again. They've now come right behind the car from Heilbronn. Heilbronn begin the blue flag.
Pisa has overtaken them, and now they have sort of a clean stretch, but we do have a yellow flag situation on track. I think that's the Rhein-Main car. So again, we have to wait for the sub 80 second. Oh, the driver is out as well. I don't see any smoke, so it is an indication for suspension failure. Mickey, can you maybe take out your binoculars to check out on the Rhein-Main car? So the driver got out quite quickly. Can you see what's going on?
Yeah, it looks a suspension failure on the right rear. Yeah, definitely. Right rear has been broken, I think, in multiple places. At least the suspension is just almost gone there. So, unfortunately for them, but the right rear suspension failure. Yeah.
I wonder if it has anything to do with the incident he had at the horseshoe the last lap, sort of loading the car in a way it wasn't meant to be loaded, taking out some cones. Well, even with the traffic last lap, Unipisa set a lap time of 83.3 last time, so I think we can look for them to break into the 82nd region as well here. Probably not this lap because of the yellow flags, but certainly they've got a free run ahead of them at the moment.
Yeah, I am looking forward to the fast for a clean lap from Gießen.
Yeah, even with those yellow flags, Pisa was an 82.9 that lap, so that's their best one so far.
As Heilbronn comes in for their driver change.
Meanwhile, Tal Lipschitz has had the cone in front of his car removed. Looks like he's about to be given the signal to proceed to the start of the endurance event.
So now we wait until the first car breaks the 82nd mark, but again Pisa is held up now.
Well, Gießen has a clear track ahead of him.
Yeah, they
so
do.
if they do make it around without any issues, then I think we might be able to see one.
It's a shame for Pisa. If they would have qualified a little bit better in the autocross, they wouldn't, well, suffer so much from the slower cars on track before them.
Haag Göttingen in the overtaking lane, and Pisa blasts past as Aachen, Fachhochschule Aachen, comes in.
Yeah, for the meatball.
And,
they got a meatball flag, Thijs.
No, Fachhochschule Aachen has just finished their endurance stuff.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Congratulations. Sorry, I saw the black flag being waved. I thought it might be a meatball.
Yes, somebody...
But you're absolutely right.
Somebody was given the black flag. I'm not sure if it was Pisa or what, but it was very close behind the car with the checkered flag.
I understand from Mickey that the Aachen car did not reduce the speed under a yellow flag situation, so that's why they got the black flag?
Yeah, that's the idea. There was a yellow flag situation out there, which means there's some kind of danger on the track, and all the drivers need to really slow down and look at the marshal for any advice. And they probably did not do it enough, at least. And I think they will get a nice little chat with Frank here.
And meanwhile, Tal Lipschitz is taking the green flag for Technion University, car 219, so he's well on his way around his first lap of the endurance course.
I don't think I've ever seen a black flag situation being waved, Thijs. Have you ever seen that?
Can't have been often. I've seen the Heilbronn car who has restarted their car. They are about to rejoin the action.
So Pisa being stuck now after Ostfalia. No blue flag was waved, but they definitely are suffering. Black flag from Pisa.
Right, there we go. Okay, it's Pisa. They have been given the black flag and they're now being pulled in.
I would imagine
stern word.
I would imagine they probably didn't slow down for the yellow flag either, based on their lap times they set.
I think it is good that the marshals enforce the yellow flag situation. So that's a good job from them.
Yeah, I've just spoken to Frank and he's confirmed the black flag is for not paying attention to the yellow flags out on circuit.
Gießen catching up on Technion, which are carrying a cone under their front right suspension. But no blue flag again.
That's one way to make a radiator inlet, I guess.
Again, no blue flag. But definitely Gießen is now affected by the Technion team. They have missed now 2 overtaking lanes in order to give the blue flag. I certainly hope that they get the blue flag in the next lane for Gießen to break the 80-second mark.
Pisa put in 5 laps, but they were pulled in for a black flag, and they have had a stern talking to, and they have now just rejoined the action again. The time that was taken to be reprimanded will be added to their overall time as a penalty. The reason, of course, being, as reported, that they ignored a yellow flag situation twice.
Car number 35 for WAB Racing in Australia now comes in for their driver change. Meanwhile, I can hear car number 330 from Akron, Akron Zips Racing, firing up behind us.
So Gießen, let's see what they can do. But no, they come in for that driver change. So due to all the traffic on track, Gießen, I think they are able to break the 80-second mark, but they have not been able to do so. Still, they were going strong with some nice low 80s.
Yeah, very few clean laps for them. The second driver is a little bit quicker and has a bit more clean air than maybe.
And looked like Bobby Wasabi from University of Akron gets the green flag and he starts his endurance run. In the car's nickname is Tanya ZR18. Fun fact, Bobby Wasabi is the driver and he was the 2017 Razor Scooter Grand Prix champion apparently. It was very impressive. Actually, both of Akron's drivers have quite distinct accolades to their names.
Wasn't the other one something with a horse and carriage?
Yeah, he was the Ohio Horse and Buggy Racing state finalist.
Why not? There's a title for that as well, apparently. That means in Ohio is basically royalty, right?
I think so, yeah.
Meanwhile, the Haagsgutingen car has come past for the 13th time, and the second driver especially has been amazingly consistent. Almost all their laps at the 89-second mark.
Akron is one of the more experienced teams here at Formula Student Germany. They've been around since 1990. This is the 28th car they've produced.
You can also see that the tractive system activating light, the blinking red light for Deggendorf is on, so they will be rejoining us shortly as well. Driver change for both cars look quite composed, so Ostfalia and Gießen, I don't expect any major issues based on what I see so far.
And Robert Kucera, aka Bobby Wasabi, completes the first lap of endurance for Zips Racing. I believe this is the only car here in Germany with Goodyear tires. Of course, Goodyear is based in Akron along with the university. It's also interesting.
Wow, bit of a slide there by Göttingen. Sorry,
It's also interesting that Akron and Deggendorf are on track together, as I believe Akron have been staying with Deggendorf, Fast Forest Racing, while they've been over here in Europe. So presumably they've been testing a lot together, and that shows because they've got cars with similar lap times.
And Ostfalia, car number 35, is going again, so up to the green flag. And also Gießen just fired up their engine. They have to wait though before Ostfalia is being released.
Meanwhile, Tal Lipschitz from Technion University continues to circulate with the cone on the right-hand side pod of his car. Hopefully that doesn't impact any cooling or anything. It's not in the best spot for that.
In the second to last lap, Pisa almost broke the 80-second mark with 80.1, but then were held up with 10 seconds behind some of the other cars.
And car number 35 from Australia, Wob Racing, has restarted after the pit stop, and they're well on their way to the second half of endurance. And shortly following them out of the pits is US Gießen, car 221. Here the engine fired up, just waiting to be given the green flag before they're released.
Gießen now at the green flag. They have to wait for Haag Göttingen to whiz by. I think they will be released with some headway because they are a little bit faster.
Again, an 89-second lap from Göttingen. Amazing consistency.
Looks like Tal Lipschitz has picked up some speed. He's managing to stay right behind the car from Pisa.
Yeah, or there might be an issue for Pisa because they were a little bit faster before. You could also see that last lap was 10 seconds slower than the lap before that. He might be held up, but there might be also something else going on there.
First though, it's Pisa in for the driver change.
Here's Bobby Wasabi from Akron. That's a quick lap time, 82.5. That car sounds really good as it drives past us as well.
Next up is the Fast Forest team from Deggendorf, car number 44. Car's named Jenny.
Jenny 10, it's the 10th car they've named Jenny.
So, run Forest run. Here we go, the green flag for Deggendorf. I'm observing the driver change for Pisa. Second driver is now being strapped in by first driver.
I'm not sure where the Pisa car has gone. I can see Tal Lipschitz.
They're here.
Third driver change also.
All right, sorry.
I was just telling that the driver change was going very well for them. Marshall is wobbling a bit on the rear wheel, but they say it's okay. So no issues for them. About to come back to the starting line. Up next in the queue is Uni Magdeburg, car number 220. Uni Jur, car number 279. And after that, the queue is somewhat empty. And I don't think we are approaching the end of the morning session yet. But I have to check the running order for that.
Wob Racing completes another lap. Going very smoothly compared to some of the other cars.
Yeah, I'm checking the running order now. In fact, Jur definitely would not be the last one for the morning session. We have a couple of other teams. The last one to drive in the morning is Pilsen.
Hawk Racing has just picked up a cone and is dragging it along underneath the center of the car.
The Israeli team, at car 219. driver has just set 2 consecutive personal best laps, so he's slowly catching up to Heilbronn, but he's also being caught by the Akron car, which is even faster.
A big slide from Giesen as they come through the final corner. They just take out a cone, continue on their way. Looks like now that Bobby Wasabi is catching up to Tal Lipschitz. Let's see if he's shown the blue flag or not quite yet.
No, I think first Tal Lipschitz will be allowed to pass the Heilbronn car, and then Akron will be allowed to pass Tal Lipschitz. No, not yet.
Giesen, meanwhile, lapping very consistently. Second driver almost equally fast as the first one, so that's great consistency for them. I do hope they break the 80-second mark, though. So Pisa's back. Car number 243. They just had their driver change, and now they're back on track.
No blue flags for Haifa yet.
No, Akron now considerably being held up with 2 overtaking lanes already passed.
Guys, have a look at that massive flag at the very end of the north curve. That's one dedicated fan over there.
It's arguably the largest flag we've ever seen here in Hockenheim, so very well done for that
There
team.
is the blue flag for Haifa, and Akron is finally allowed to pass.
I can't quite see which team that flag is for. A very passionate fan nonetheless.
Maybe we have a live stream viewer who can explain on that. So Giesen catching up on Hawk.
No blue flag yet.
Why not? Because maybe I see a finish flag, and I think it is for Hawk Göttingen. They come in, finishing their endurance, car number 171.
Yeah, that's fair play. They were allowed to finish the endurance instead of having to go into the overtaking lane. And good job to them finishing. They have been very consistent. Akron now finally some clean air. They can show what they got.
Pisa definitely slowing down a little bit in that horseshoe corner.
Yeah, they were very slow in their last 2 laps before the pit stop, and this driver doesn't seem to be able to lap as fast as the first driver was at the beginning of the stint.
So Deggendorf will catch them, I think, very fast, because they are doing a very good job on track on their first lap already. Let's see if it comes close to the 80-second mark. I think it might.
Yeah, already, because their second was an 80.8. So I'm sure they should be able to break that 80-second mark, but they were held up a little bit.
Yeah, they were taking Ostfalia, so that might account for the 2 lost seconds there. On track now, car number 220 from Uni Magdeburg.
And currently 2 cars on track. They will be looking at the 80-second lap barrier. Akron and Deggendorf both aiming to break that. Giesen 2 though, personal best, 81.7. As Akron is about to cross the finish line in an 80.2.
So the name of the car 220.
2 finish flags, sorry Austin, for Tal Lipschitz to come in.
The name of the car for Magdeburg is Titscha, and it looks like the driver is Ivan Ivanovich Lut.
Last lap sign for Heilbronn. So while Ostfalia whizzes by, let's see what Magdeburg can do in their first lap. I think it will be something of 90 to 95 seconds. They're not lapping particularly fast.
We've got a real competition here to see who can get into the 79-second range quickest. Both Akron and Deggendorf are very close.
Big power slide from Giesen and a 180.
He's been having issues at that corner for pretty much the whole segment of endurance. No yellow flags for Akron, but they managed to slow down on their own. Good job from Bobby Wasabi to be aware of his surroundings.
In the back section, though, there are yellow flags being waved because Heilbronn has stopped past the track.
Oh, no, they're on their last lap.
A couple of cars had to slow down quite significantly. Heilbronn are only half a lap away from home. They were very close to getting here. They still have about a minute, I think, to restart their engine if that is the issue, but I can't see it from here.
Deggendorf, meanwhile, being definitely held up by Pisa, but they get the blue flag now. Heilbronn, meanwhile, still standing there, half a lap away from home. Let's hope he can make it until the end. It's always difficult to speculate on what would be going wrong, but certainly don't hope it's fuel. All these cars are designed to do only 22 kilometers. Some of them do drive with a negative power budget and a very small fuel tank. Then again, from our commentary position, it's absolutely no way of telling what is going on there, but it does take a while now.
You can see the driver banging his steering wheel.
And Bobby Wasabi being given the flag to come in for his driver change now.
The official at the finish flag elects to double wave finish flags for the last couple of times.
Maybe just getting some practice for later.
I think he practiced at home maybe, because he's doing quite a well job at it. Deggendorf clipping a cone, but they did overtake Pisa, who are now able to catch up, or at least follow them quite properly, although they were taken over a little while ago.
I'm having a look back here at the driver change area. Everything looks to be going all right for Akron so far.
I think that's it for Heilbronn, guys. I can see the car being pushed out by the officials.
It looks to me like Technion University is having some issues restarting. Everyone seems to be waiting for the driver to do something. There's the officials with the stopwatch, the team looking a bit helpless. So they give it one last go.
Ostfalia, meanwhile, here is stalling. They're also coming close to the end of their endurance. But everyone, please give Heilbronn a big cheer. Half a lap away from home for this local team from Heilbronn. Unfortunately, a DNF for them.
It's not looking good for Technion University, I've got to say.
In for the driver change. Driver shaking his head.
Being given the international symbol for it's done.
Ostfalia, meanwhile, guys, is definitely slowing down on track. They have about 1.5 lap to go. The black and white car at the far end in the Noordkurve. I certainly hope they make it and they don't run out of battery, because I do think that might be the issue for them.
It does seem like a typical electrical car issue.
Joining the track now, car number 279 from Djur.
Ostfalia not being shown a blue flag.
The driver from Akron now just making the final preparations. They're tightening his belts. He's just put his gloves on. Everything's pretty relaxed down there at the moment.
Car 35 is scraping over the floor, I think. I'm not sure if their right front suspension is completely in order.
It's looking a bit unsecure.
And a meatball flag is being readied.
They're definitely scraping. The How do, however, have only 1 lap to go.
They are now finally being overtaken by Giesen, who have lost a lot of time there.
Guys, Akron has just restarted after their pit stop. It took about 3 or 4 tries, starting a little nervous, but Akron is wheeling their way back up to the, go back out for the second half of endurance.
And unfortunately, car 35, Wolfenbüttel Ostfalia, is now in the driver change area instead of driving his final lap, which he was about to start. Scrutineers are having a look at the right front suspension.
The second driver for Akron, Matt Evans, aka Yoder, just waiting for the green flag from the official. And as Steph mentioned before, Yoder is the Ohio Horse and Buggy, or a Ohio Horse and Buggy Racing State finalist. So let's hope he's as fast on the the endurance track here as he is in his horse and buggy back in Ohio.
Unfortunately, guys, it's a DNF confirmed for car 35. They made it 17 laps out of 18, but their right front suspension is damaged beyond being usable.
Yeah, give them a big cheer. The team from Westphalia, car number 35, only 1 lap to go. But we have Giesen coming in now, so keep clapping for them. Car number 221, UAS Giesen, completing endurance. Meanwhile, Magdeburg is also lapping consistently. The 2 driver names are Off Course and Leaky, so let's hope they do neither of them. While Constance, car number 343, is now ready to join the track. They will be followed by Hunan University from China, car number 328. Deggendorf already coming in for their drive change. That was a very short stint. Well done for them. Jur is stalling now at the horseshoe section near the end of the track. The yellow flag for Akron was a bit... they are slowing down. Very good job from the driver there. Constance now on track with a very typical front wing.
Constance stalled for a little bit. His first attempt at the starting line, but he made it. And Akron now in hot pursuit of Jur.
Yeah, Akron has started backfiring pretty much every gear shift. I didn't notice that first half of endurance. Hopefully that's not going to cause them any issues. I know they had their intake blow off at the last endurance event they competed at. They seem to have fixed that with a more robust mounting solution.
Next team to finish would be Pisa. They have now 2 laps to go, so about 1.5 lap. A last lap time will now be prepared for them, I think. Or am I mistaken? No, I think I'm right. Yeah, there we see it. Last lap time being prepared for Pisa.
This second driver for Pisa is taking it quite a bit easier than the first guy.
Akron overtaking Jur there.
And indeed, car 243, Pisa now in their final lap.
Let's see if they can make it their fastest lap as well, because they have a fair amount of headway. I think they might break the 80-second mark, although what you just said indeed, Thijs, that second driver is lapping a little bit slower than the other one.
Second driver for Akron is now sort of getting into the groove on his 3rd lap, and he has some clean air, so let's see what he can do. Their first driver drove already an 80.23, so you would think that they should be able to get a little bit closer to the Schweinfurt time. That is still the fastest on the board, 79.37.
Car 328 from Hunan University, the first of the Chinese teams to take track today, gets the green flag. They've started their endurance run.
Completing endurance, car number 243, Unipisa.
Congratulations.
Andiamo.
Bravissimo. Bravi, bravi.
Grazie ragazzi.
Tutto va bene.
Che bella.
See. Constance putting in a very quick lap, 80.07. The fastest car on track right now. As Akron, no, isn't challenging that assumption yet. And Deggendorf is about to rejoin the track after a successful driver change.
Magdeburg. Sorry, Magdeburg just being shown the last lap board as well.
Yeah, regarding Magdeburg, they want to extend their thanks to Rosie Bernard. She's doing marketing at their university. And Rosie, thank you for always being there for us.
And Deggendorf rejoins the track. And to be clear, Magdeburg is on their 9th lap, so they'll be in for driver change soon.
I think the flag guy might have been for Pisa, because they are now leaving the North Curve, just as Pisa finished.
That is a good flag they've got.
And I think also the car on the flag looks a little bit color scheme wise with the Pisa car. So
Yeah, the guys have matching shirts with the bunch of hugging Pisa fans that are standing right next to our position.
So yeah, that's very good enthusiasm from the Italian fans.
The flag must be like 5 meters high or something.
arguably the largest Italian flag we have seen so far.
I don't think there was any arguing about that. By the way, Constance not blasting by quite as enthusiastically as they did before.
Meanwhile, Yoder passes by us again in the Akron Zips car. They've also asked us to thank their sponsors Schaeffler and Goodyear.
And they managed to just eke out a slightly faster lap than the Constance lap from just now. 80.03, getting ever closer to the 80-second mark as Magdeburg comes in for driver change. Deggendorf is slowing down because yellow flags are being shown. The reason for that being that Jur is stuck by the side of the track. And I think the car is running again. And he's now being told he can rejoin, luckily.
Stefan, I noticed he was having all sorts of trouble through that section in the past few laps. So hopefully he can get it sorted out in the next few laps. But it's been very rough through there recently.
Up next is car number 60. They are approaching the starting line now. It's the UAS Nürnberg, Strom und Söhne, and they will be followed by the Hubei University of Automotive Technology, car number 329.
Jur still have a way to go, about 12 out of 18 laps, because we're now on their 7th lap.
Team from Nuremberg, who has just entered the track now past the Volkswagen stand, managed to drive in the rain in Austria, where they collected a lot of cones, which earned them the title of Conan the Barbarian. So let's see if we can keep it a little bit more clean this time around.
Jur currently on their 6th lap, of course, as Akron again approaches their fastest time so far. So nicely consistent. As the Chinese team is still sort of stuck behind the Deggendorf team, I think.
Yeah, they're still stuck, but they're definitely faster. And I have to say, I'm getting more and more impressed about the level of competition of the Chinese teams that we see. It gets better every year. Still no blue flag, so marshals or officials elect not to give it yet.
Again at the same position at the track. Maybe it's the bump there that causes them to misfire or miss their gear or whatever. They got it going again, luckily. And now finally, the Chinese team is allowed to overtake Deggendorf.
I saw the blue flag for Deggendorf just now. The driver, it was very early already at the end of the main straight there. They almost drove back into the pits area here. That was quite strange.
Yeah, the car from Hunan, the last time they were in Formula Student Germany was 2015, and they finished in 16th place overall. So clearly they've had a strong finish here in the past as well.
Deggendorf is able to keep up a little bit with the Chinese team, but they are pulling away steadily.
Magdeburg restarted their car and managed to go through the driver change in a very proper manner, no drama. They're now at the green flag position, waiting for 328 to pass by, Deggendorf to pass by, and I think they will now be released. Or they might wait for Jur and Strom und Söhne Nürnberg to pass by as well.
Guys, we've got a report that Akron, and in particular Yoder, the driver, is just at the fastest time of the day, a 79.499. He's finally managed to break into the 70-second range. So great job by Yoder.
He almost broke the Schweinfurt time. Still a little bit slower.
Yes, you're right, Thijs. I was off by about 1/10 of a second.
He still has 3 laps though, so and he comes around again in another sub 80-second lap, 79.994.
Magdeburg, meanwhile, car number 220, back on track. And I'm interested to see what the red car from the Chinese team can do now. When they have some headway, they should be able to go around track without too many issues now. So then we can get a fairly accurate estimate on the speed of this car.
They are struggling with a very tight hairpin there, though, but most teams are. Deggendorf, for example, I think took out 2 cones last lap around. Jura now doesn't seem to have any problems in this section, where they were stalled 2 or 3 times before, as they are slowly approaching the halfway mark.
It looks like we're going to be joined on track soon by a second car from China. This one, car 329 from Hubei University of Automotive Technology.
79.9 for Nuremberg. Very well done, guys. Flying out there.
Almost exact match for the previous time from Akron, who are a little bit slower this time around, as we are about to be joined by the second winged red Chinese car on track.
We have a Chinese battle going on. So the black and yellow car from Akron now on their last lap of today. Let's hope they won't do the same thing that Heilbronn did, and that they'll make it. Mickey, in Austria, Akron was also well underway before their intake manifold came off, right? Were they on the last lap as well?
Yeah, they were. I think it was even the second half of the last lap already. No, I think first half anyway. It was on the last lap, and their intake manifold just came out, and I think I had a talk to them recently, a couple of days back, and they told us it was actually the restrictor that came loose, and with that the whole intake manifold just fell off, and that was well, that was quite a shame for this team making a journey from the US here and competing in a couple of events, and you want to finish as much as you can, obviously.
Meanwhile, the driver change for Jur. And last lap sign now, I think also for the driver change for Constance. And now, yes, now the official can have a go at finishing the endurance for Akron. They surely will make it this time round. Car number 330 from Akron, USA, finishing endurance.
Yeehaw! Great job from Akron. That was very impressive performance, very consistent with quick lap times the whole endurance run.
To keep things simple, both the Chinese teams have consecutive car numbers. Car 328 and car 329. Car 329 with the solid black rear wing is the Xi'an team, and 328 is the Hunan team.
So completing this endurance for Akron means they really have a good year, right, Austin?
Oh, I see what you did there, Steph.
Deggendorf, meanwhile, as Constance comes in for their driver change, I think. I gotta say that Deggendorf has slowed down quite a bit off their fastest pace that we've seen from them earlier, because they actually drove in 80.67 in their first stint, but they're now continuously being overtaken.
And that last lap for the driver from Constance was the first time that car has been in the 79-second range, and looks like car 329, HUAT from China, has also just gotten to the 79-second range as well. Times are clearly speeding up for all these cars as we get towards the faster competitors from the autocross yesterday.
Yeah, Xi'an already in their second lap, below the 80s. It's the earliest any of the drivers has managed that so far, I think.
So the team from Akron just finishing endurance, the black and yellow car. We have a new black and yellow car on track. It's the team from Thessaloniki, Greece. After that, the team from UWB in Pilsen, car number 260, will join track. That is officially the last one, I think, for the morning session. After that, we have Pforzheim, the golden car, back in line. They will, however, run out of order because they were already in front of the queue earlier today.
And I see the team from Darmstadt as well, who was actually the second car that was meant to start this morning. Had some issues getting it fired up. I'm not sure where they're going, but I can see them as well.
Both of the Chinese teams, sort of similar setup. They both have a 600cc Honda CBR 600 engine. The only difference that I can see while looking quickly at the spec sheet is that one drives on the Hoosier R25A compound, the other one on the R25B compound.
Dagendorf, I think, probably drove a little bit too quick in their first half of their endurance, because they have now had to slow down quite significantly in what looks to be an energy strategy. But it's hurting them pretty badly, because not only are they just outright slower, they also have to stop very often around the track. So I hope they're going to make it. They don't have that far to go anymore.
It's about 1.5 lap.
You can also see it the other way around. It's a good thing they spotted early enough that they were running low on energy and didn't just blast all the way through it. And if they do keep this up, they should be able to manage it.
Car from Hunan University makes its way into the pits for the driver change. The driver from Jure has just managed to get the car fired up after a lot of trying. It's getting a bit tense. He's keeping the revs high not to stall it again.
The Xi'an driver put in a great effort in his third lap, almost exactly matching his previous time. Unfortunately, he was held up a little bit by Dagendorf this lap around, so this one will not be faster. As Jure rejoins the track.
Constance is now trying to fire up their car.
Thessaloniki overtaking Dagendorf, while the last lap sign is prepared for the Dagendorf car. So the black and green car, car number 44, now on their last lap. And they are definitely slowing down a bit, as Thijs just mentioned. I think they're conserving energy. Let's hope they can make it.
Run, Forrest, run.
And Constance, 343, has managed to refire and is starting the second half of their endurance. It was quite a smooth pit stop for them.
Pilsen, which was supposed to be the last team to run in this morning session, car 260, so they are the fastest team in the autocross that we've seen so far. Is about to join, I should say. They are at the green flag position right now.
Team with the deer hat with antlers on the back. The Konunzöne team from Nürnberg getting the last lap sign for the driver change. And then the blue car on track, new, is from Pilsen.
Yep, they almost stalled right after the starting line and took out a cone in the very first cone killer chicane. But they're on their way now as the Chinese teams come around again.
They are flying. I think they're by quite a distance. The fastest car on track at the moment.
Yeah, I should of course be more specific. I mean the Xi'an team.
And the driver for Hunan has got the car fired up on the first try. Car 328 is about to pull out and start the second half of their endurance as well. I think the biggest drama they had in their pit stop was making sure the GoPro was still recording.
Completing endurance, the car from Dagendorf, car number 44.
They sure made that exciting at the end. Guess they had just enough energy. But good job to the team from Dagendorf. They deserve a round of applause.
Yeah, that must have been very close because they slowed down for about 5-6 laps.
It turned into a walk, Forest walk at the end, but they made it, and that's all that matters.
There were definitely some good chocolates in this box today.
First lap for Pilsen, and it's an 83.9 immediately.
Thijs, I was expecting you to now say chocolade.
I missed that one, sorry.
Good. Thessaloniki, they're doing fairly well as well. Not fairly well, they're doing very well with a 79.7.
And the driver from Hunan University has been released. Car 328 starts the second half of endurance.
Struggled a little bit in low gear, but now it's in at least the second gear and they're flying off again. Let's see if they can catch up with the other Chinese teams, currently flying around the track and lapping quite consistently in the low 80s, high 79s.
Very consistently indeed. I have high hopes for Pilsen though, even though the Thessaloniki car currently has the fastest lap of any of the cars on track. But Pilsen are only on their second lap, so we're still getting to know the track a little bit.
So the queue is forming again. We have Pforzheim, the golden car, now fired up their engine and coming to the green flag. After that it's car number 223.
Pilsen, however, slightly overly enthusiastic for the very tight hairpin, so they caught a cone and lost some time there.
223, I think, is Poznan University.
Yep, you are right. After Poznan we have car number E16. After that we have UAS of TU Darmstadt. And after that is, I think, the Indian team from Chennai.
Yeah, and car 16 is from Deepholz, UAS Deepholz.
Your eyesight is a lot better than mine, apparently.
Guys, we just missed Thessaloniki driving the fastest lap of the day, I think. They drove a 79.26.
Yeah, as said, what is displayed at the 72.172, that was from Linköping, but that was a timing mistake, we think, because the car was significantly slower than that. So in fact, it was the fastest time of the day just now for Thessaloniki with a 79.261.
And car 220 from Magdeburg, it's the last lap board. Driver from Pilsen really pushing through the cone killer chicane. More sideways than straight forward.
Xi'an's driver sliding about.
Gets the last lap board as well.
Yeah, for the driver change to come in. And Thessaloniki now is really pushing. The driver is definitely driving this car.
That Xi'an driver is amazingly consistent. It's the second time around where he has 2 laps that are within 100ths of a second consecutively.
Now we see the car from Pforzheim make their way around for the first time. This car's name is Ruby. The team tend to name their cars after gemstones every year.
Pilsen driver very close to his predecessor now. A little bit too close if you ask me.
Yep. If Magdeburg now gets a lockup of some sorts, then it's basically in the other car.
And I don't think they're going to get a blue flag because it's Magdeburg's last lap, actually. Although they might.
Yeah, speed difference is such that blue flags are being waved.
Car number 220 from Magdeburg finishes endurance. It's a great result for them.
Car 329 comes in right after the other. The Hubei University of Automotive Technology.
The driver from Hunan University really pushing. It's not the first time I've seen him take out a cone on a straight, which is not necessarily the smoothest way to go about things.
Pforzheim lapping, we're up at the 88-second mark.
Just a reminder that all of these teams starting endurance now are running out of order and as such will be subjected to a 120-second time penalty added on to the end of their run.
Pilsen lost a lot of time last lap around, so we were stuck behind Magdeburg for a bit, so they were about 6 seconds slower than their previous lap. Now they should have had a bit more clean air, and they're about to come through again in 80.8, back to their previous pace. Jur matches that time exactly, and also in 80.8.
Last lap time for Thessaloniki before their driver change. And Poznan now approaching the green flag position. Polish team, car number 223.
fourth time taking out about 3 cones in a single chicane. Hairpin.
The team from Nuremberg is quite clean this endurance, so that's a very good job. Definitely a lot better than the rain endurance in Austria.
Yeah, this is their 11th lap they've just completed. Sorry, we're being attacked by wasps up here in the commentary stand, which is why we've all started talking very sporadically and randomly.
Finnish flag being prepared for Thessaloniki. They come in now for their driver change. As the car number 328 from Hunan University, China flies by. And the new car, oh no, they're back from the driver change, of course. Car number 329, the other Chinese team, and I think it's also the faster Chinese team now behind car 328. So we definitely have a battle going on between the two reddish cars.
Yeah, both these Chinese cars actually match very closely. Their fastest laps are only 0.4 of a second apart. Let's see how fast the second driver for the Xi'an team is, who just rejoined. Their fastest time so far was a 79.96.
We've had a few topics from the live stream I want to address. One is we can't play any music, otherwise YouTube will shut the stream down. They're being very strict about it this year, so unfortunately we can't play any introductory songs for any of the cars. Second, we were asked to clarify the time penalty comment I just made. The endurance run order was published last night, which specifies the order in which the cars have to run, and if the cars aren't ready in their original position, they still are allowed to run at the end of their specified session, but that is why the penalty is applied, because they missed their initial time slot. So the only thing to do is to add some time onto their run at the end.
Second Xi'an driver still has to get used to the very tight section here in the midfield. So he struggled with that a little bit.
As does the Pilsen driver. They all struggle a little bit with the very tight hairpin.
I think Pilsen actually has a cone lodged in the front left suspension, or at least it was a while ago. And we're looking for the Jura car. They are on their last lap. Now re-entering the infield here.
Stromenzöne taking out a cone. Unfortunately, they're not able to carry it.
Pilsen taking the widest line they can through that corner with the cone still lodged in there. And Jura actually also carrying a cone in their front right suspension, and they've now released that again. They're into their final couple of corners, through the slingshot one last time.
Constance also last lap sign, but first Jura across the line, car number 279.
They finished their endurance, congratulations.
That was a fun journey for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was, Austin. As Hunan takes out 3 cones in one corner.
For Jura.
And their compatriots are sliding even more vigorously, but they seem to keep it a little bit cleaner. Xi'an really pushing now.
In French, they would say that was a bonne journée.
They would say that stuff, I think.
No French teams here, I think, this year. I haven't seen any of them driving. Maybe there are 1 or 2 stuck in scrutineering, but we haven't seen one on track yet.
At the green flag position is car 312. Their first driver drove the fastest lap we've seen today, 79.26. Let's see if their second driver can approach that. They are now on track.
Bit of a traffic jam behind the Pforzheim car.
Who are also collecting cones.
Let's see, it's now in its under tray. So the golden car has a... Oh, there it is.
And the driver from car 343 did a really good job to avoid that cone.
And actually, they finished the endurance. Congratulations to the team from Constance.
And Pilsen is in for their driver change.
Last lap sign for car 328, Hunan University, China.
As they break into the 70 seconds. It might not even show up on the timing screens, but actually it was a 79.999.
999?
Yes, yes, yes.
So as we break into the 79-second range, some of these recent cars, Steph, I know we spoke about this before. What times do we think we can see later on in the afternoon?
70, 75. I think low 70s. And maybe if one of the faster four-wheel drive electric cars give a good push, they might be able just to dip below the 70-second mark.
Looks like Nuremberg had a little bit of an issue going around the low speed section just before the horseshoe. They got going again. They're making their way very smoothly towards the end of their run. They've got approximately 3 laps left now. And Forsheimer's done the same exact thing with the same exact cone this lap as well. Pops out a bit sooner this time though. At least the driver is consistently hitting the same cones, I guess.
Yeah, great consistency from the driver. Finish flag for car 328.
Yeah, and that's Hunan University have finished endurance. Congratulations to the first team from China that was just on track. Looks like the team from HUAT is celebrating with them as they knock over some cones.
TU Darmstadt tries to fire up their engine. And also car number 16, I cannot see the tractive light on yet. They are in front of the queue though. Maybe they have gotten the instruction to wait out a bit, because there are quite a lot of cars on track already. And also another car rejoins us. It's a team from Pilsen, car number 260. The blue car that will now, I think, get the blue flag. Yep, there they go.
Speaking of blue flags, I can see some more exuberant flag waving up in this north stand.
Oh, we've got a flag competition coming up.
These flags are smaller, but there's 2 of them, so I'm not sure if this is a better strategy or what. Meanwhile, Forsheim takes out the same cone they've been taking out for the past 3 laps.
And again, they cause a bit of a traffic jam behind them.
Yeah, oh, he's got the cone nicely lodged between the wheel and the right front side pod. Not sure that's going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
Marshall's elected not to take the cone out. We have seen that before sometimes.
Whoa, and the driver from HUAT goes wide through the cone killer chicane.
Yeah,
and,
but that's because the blue flag is already given here, and many of the drivers think the blue entry lane is already here, so it's a bit early flag, I must say. So I understand why they do this, because the blue flag is given just before re-entering the pit area, which is also blue.
And it's not looking good for Forsheim. I'm not sure if they're, I think they're being pushed off. It looks like it might be the end of the day for Forsheim. They're a bit far away from the track now for an attempt to restart. A valiant effort for car 379, but looks like it's a DNF for them this year.
Thessaloniki flies by, and we see now the last lap sign for the Georg-Sim own school from Nuremberg with the hashtag Arschgeweih. And yes, I do know what that means.
Oh, the car from HUAT getting some air as he enters the horseshoe, let alone in the jump section of the track. The driver is really driving exuberantly. It's quite fun to watch. I think this could be a very quick lap time for car 329. This lap, he's got a clear road in front of him.
we're about to be joined by a new car, car 16 from Diepholz. Electric car that's running out of order.
Definitely struggling to get some pace into that car, the black and orange car from Diepholz, but good for them, they're here. They had some issues which caused them not to be here earlier. So Conan the Barbarian, car number 60, completing endurance.
Congratulations to the team from Nuremberg. Yeah, I've got a feeling, Steph, the pace is going to slow down for these next few cars, so a little bit unfortunate for the quick cars on circuit right now.
Definitely hope that none of the drivers get a wasp in their cockpits, because we have a lot of them here.
It's because we're so sweet, Steph.
Maybe one car, the B-Fast car from Ulm, is distributing them over here. I don't know. Thessaloniki on track. We have completed their driver change.
And the car from Diepholz is now really holding up the car from Pilsen. Driver from Pilsen being very patient, giving a bit more room than he gave before, which is good.
We were talking earlier about the sound quality on the Baltic racing car from Stralsund, but the Pilsen car, also coincidentally black and blue, sounds very well as well, right?
It does, and Poznan get the checkered flag. I think this is for their pit stop. Yeah, for their pit stop, and the driver set the fastest lap of his time, 79.94 on that lap.
TU Darmstadt, car number 240, have managed to fire up their engine. They were originally, I think, the second or third car in queue, struggled with starting their engine, but they're back now. And it's well done.
Actually, I've just noticed they're running Goodyear tires as well, so it's not just Akron.
So yeah, let's hope they can make it a good year as well.
Can fly like an eagle.
It's a song, right?
Ooh, Pilsen rearranging the track quite badly. It's the same spot as always. They're not the only ones, but they have done it quite a few times too, and it was a very tight hairpin there. Thessaloniki's second driver hasn't quite been able to find the speed that his predecessor did. Lapping around the 84, 85 second mark now.
We've been asked about the cable cam on the live stream. We do have a cable cam, but it's being used by the media team for the
239, Hubei University from China, finishing the endurance.
Congratulations.
And Darmstadt is starting as well. As I was saying, we do have a cable cam, but it's not being used during the live stream. It's being used by a separate media team to put together some videos for the award ceremony and for afterwards. So that's why you may look like we have a cable cam, but you won't be seeing any pictures on the live stream from it.
It's a good suggestion though. Somebody else suggests live onboard video. So maybe one of the teams next year can make sure that they fix that. There must be some kind of system for it. At least I don't think Formula Student will arrange that, since we have no control over the cars whatsoever. Teams have to do that by themselves.
And Aristotle Racing Team from Thessaloniki looking a bit slow as he goes past. Not sure if the driver is wheeling the car forward or just having some throttle control issues.
No, it's in one gear, I think. I can clearly hear it revving a little bit too low. I think it's in third gear,
well,
maybe fourth.
They've only got 2 laps left, so let's hope they can make it.
I don't see or hear any other strange things other than the car revs a little bit low. Normally, they should be able to complete endurance with this issue.
Meanwhile, the 247 car from Darmstadt excretes quite a puff of smoke every now and then as he makes his round for the first time.
I can smell like a distinct odor of oil as well burning from one of the cars. I'm not sure which one.
Some loud bangs.
Whoa.
Loud bangs
Yeah,
now. Quite a
got
lot
some
more
smoke.
and now it's gone again, but I know that the track marshals are keeping an eye on it.
Oh, he's taken out about 7 cones in a straight line as well.
Yeah,
He took out a couple more before too.
Car sounding a bit like a tractor, not to be too mean to them, but not sounding the most healthy of vehicles.
and I'm quite sure that the marshals will take a close look at that, because we have had one fire this morning earlier with the Baltic Racing Team, which already had some puffs of smoke coming out of the car earlier.
He still has a good 90% of the endurance to go, so as you see, another couple cones flying.
I can clearly hear that the Chennai team is trying to start up their engine. I can clearly hear a starting motor, but no hisses or puffs yet, so they are struggling. Lining up is also 2 new cars. The one is the technical Hochschule Köln, car number 11 or 211 or 311.
11.
It's 11, good. And car 118. That's a team from Hanover.
And the car from Deep Pulse Dynamics continues to circulate. They're now on their 5th lap.
Darmstadt takes out another 3 cones in the same position as previously. And I think every time he brakes for a corner and lifts off the throttle, there's blue smoke coming out of the exhaust, but it doesn't seem to be getting much worse, so let's see how that develops.
I guess it won't get too bad until it runs out of oil to make the smoke. I think that's what causes the problem.
Chennai has fired up their engine. They struggled for minutes and minutes to do so, but now they're on. Let's see if they can manage to drive away without stalling the engine, because that's the next challenge they have to face before they're in the clear. Yep, and they do stall it. So I was fearing for that already, and now he has to try to get it on again with already a little bit of a drained battery, because they have been trying for quite a while. We have the finish flag now. That is for the Thessaloniki car, completing endurance, car number 312.
They just made it. That was some issues clearly happening the last 3 laps. The car was about 15 seconds a lap slower. The team from Aristotle Racing Team made it. Now got a bit of a traffic jam through the horseshoe. We've got Deep Holt, Dynamics, TU Darmstadt, and Pilsen all in a row.
Loud bangs from the Chennai car. Darmstadt will now frantically try to stay ahead of the Poznan car, but I think Poznan is quite a bit quicker.
No blue flag for the smoking car yet.
No, as Pilsen enters their last lap. Darmstadt will now let 2 cars.
The starter motor for IIT Madras is sounding really weak at the moment, but they've got it with one last go.
I didn't expect that, Austin. It was sounding so terrible, the starting engine, but I got it on.
And ooh, he stalled it again.
He revs it quite hard, but not hard enough.
Yeah, he was revving it, but when he started to release the clutch, he sort of let the revs drop, and car stalled again.
Pilsen, definitely the fastest car on track at the moment. Should be about completing endurance.
And the team from IIT Madras has gotten the car fired up for a third time. Let's hope third time lucky.
Pilsen completing the endurance, car 260 from Czech Republic. Congratulations.
And I'm not sure there's everything completely right with the differential of the Indian car because it was rolling forward and the rear wheels just locked up.
Blue flag for Diepholz. They clearly go very well out of the way. Car number 241, still with some puffs of smoke every once in a while. Car from TU Darmstadt. So since we have a little bit of time, I think the officials like to be a little bit lenient on the Chennai team. I think that's a wise call. But then again, they should start anytime soon. Otherwise, another car will be given priority.
It is quite amazing how many cones that Darmstadt car is taking out. Another 4 cones on a straight.
Why not? It's not disallowed. It's not like you're only allowed to hit cones in corners.
Absolutely not, but it's quite expensive. 8 seconds right there, where you're not actually gaining any time either.
I don't think they'll be going for a fast time. I think they will be very happy if they can complete it at all.
Maybe they're going for the cone strike record. Trying to get a very high cone efficiency index score.
They haven't actually managed to catch any cones, as in carry them along, so.
And don't believe it or believe it, but Chennai is back on. I definitely didn't expect that.
Well, if nothing else, apparently their battery is big enough.
Just keep
So,
it revved.
come on.
Keep it revved.
Pedal to the metal, don't stall it, come on. He is actually rolling up to the start now.
Darmstadt, another cone at the end of the straight.
Yeah, they definitely don't like the layout of this endurance track.
We were wondering yesterday how long it would be until a driverless car would become smart enough to rearrange the track into like a circle so it could do it quicker. I think that's still a ways off, but it looks like that's what this driver is trying to do. And the team from IIT Madras gets the green flag, and he just about manages to keep it rolling.
That was so close. He's so low in the revs. Their lowest gear isn't quite low enough, I don't think.
It might not be their lowest gear. It might be their second or third gear, and they will drive it all in one gear. Who knows? Up next will be another green and black car. It's the TH Köln, car number 11.
The driver from Poznan really sliding through the course. Meanwhile, the car from TU Darmstadt slowly but steadily picking up cones along the way. I think he's got one underneath him now. Does sound distinctly tractor-like, as I've mentioned before.
Does he have an issue with his steering system or so, Austin, that you can see? Because why would you hit so many cones?
Not sure it's an issue with the steering system. I think perhaps the car just doesn't have as much grip as the driver wants, and he's not quite aware of how wide the rear of the car is either, because he's just taking out some more cones down the straight.
That must be part of it, because the way he just took that line through this straight right here, I think he just thinks the car is narrower at the end.
And the car from Diepholz being shown the last lap board.
As Chennai moves very, very slowly and is now keeping up the Poznan car.
So the electric car from TH Köln, the Kölsche Jung, they're here. Engine is on. I think the correct technical term for the left side pod of the Indian team is floppy, right, Austin?
Yeah, it is moving about quite a bit, Steph. Doesn't look like it's going to cause a danger, but it's certainly not ideal. Oh, I was about to say I thought the driver from Darmstadt was going to miss a cone in that corner this lap, but he managed to get 2 of them.
And actually one is now actually stuck beneath his front left suspension, which I think might be first for them, which is extraordinary considering the amount of cones that they did catch. And there's another 2, 3, 4. Very close. He actually managed to miss him, but he touched him, but he didn't move them.
The car from India looks to be going a little bit quicker than he was on the first lap.
They are making the Köln team wait quite long. There's no apparent issue. And now also the team member says, okay, I'm gonna put it off now because, oh no, there does seem to be an issue. We are being pushed back now.
And the car from Diepholz comes in for its driver change.
So the electric car 11 is now being pushed back.
I think Chennai is actually looking quite a bit better than their first lap round. Let's see, it was at 24.8 just now. And there you go, 25 seconds knocked off. It's a 100-second flat. I don't think they're shifting the Indian car.
Here the car 247 from TU Darmstadt certainly making some new rattling noises along with the smoke and cones.
A little bit more smoke this time around, I think. As he goes into his last lap, for first stint.
The car from Poznan being shown the last lap board. They've got one more lap to finish before they complete their endurance. Let's wish them luck in their final trip. The car from IIT Madras was looking quite quick. He's gone a bit wide. Entering the horseshoe, he's got a cone stuck under the car now. Hopefully that doesn't cause too many issues.
You can just hear the beep from the Horsepower Hanover team, car 118. They are now approaching the green flag position. This is their 8th time in Germany. Finished the endurance only once.
The Darmstadt car appears to have stopped at the hairpin, sort of the halfway point of the track. You can just see the roll hoop. It looks like he spun out. He's got it going again. Yeah, he's rolling once more. Just a final few corners for Poznan. Still looking very strong, and with that car 223 from TU Poznan finishes endurance. You can see their fans running down here with a big flag. They want to get on the flag action as well. And it looks like 247 Darmstadt has made it to its first pit stop. We'll see what the scrutineers say. It is smoking a lot now. And Diepholz gets moving after their driver change as Darmstadt pulls in. And Diepholz starts their second half of endurance. Get a big cheer as they go through Cone Killer Chicane from their fans. So far, I think everything's looking okay for Darmstadt in the driver change. The scrutineers haven't seemed to find anything too bad about the car. He's satisfied the smoke isn't causing a safety issue. Here, the car from IoT Madras continues to circulate in what sounds like second or third gear. Must have had an issue with the shifting system, which would explain why he was having such difficulty setting off. He's just hit a cone as he comes past us now.
Fun fact about the car of the Chennai team, they're driving a KTM 390 Duke with only 773 cc displacement, so that's quite a small engine, I would say. Even though that the car still weighs 178 kilograms. Oh, I said 773, but I mean 373, so 373 cc displacement.
Here's the car from Default Dynamics once more. One more lap in the books. Sounds like Darmstadt have just gotten the car fired up once more. And the driver is stalled as but he's got refired right away. Just waiting to be given the green flag. And there he goes.
Well, he stalls it again, but he manages to fire it up right again.
And yeah, he's going again. Just about. Oh, I think he's started in the wrong gear. He's got it fired up again. He's certainly making this very exciting and very tricky to commentate. He's going, he's going, he's going. And he's off. That was certainly very eventful. I think his car is still going. Meanwhile, the car from IIT Madras comes past very slowly this lap.
And they got the yellow flag because the Chennai team, the Darmstadt team had some issues in starting.
Yeah, I think Chennai is doing pretty well. They're actually lapping very consistently around the 99-second mark.
They've got 99 problems, but a cone ain't one.
Actually, the TU Darmstadt team is driving on a two-stroke engine. I think they are one of the few teams doing so. So somebody on the live stream commented two-stroke for more smoke. That's quite a nice one, I think.
Unless there are some very late comers, these will be the last few cars circulating before the lunch break. We'll then pause, allow all the officials to get something to eat, and then resume in the afternoon with the faster group of cars leading to the, or culminating in the Fast Five at the very end of Endurance.
Actually, I don't think that Darmstadt is using a two-stroke engine because it's clearly stipulated in the rules that it should be a four-stroke engine. Or our information is not complete. Let me check the design spec sheet. Come back to it later.
Car 250 passed us once again.
A little bit slower this time around, though. Car 16 also really struggling with the tight hairpin. But just as Chennai, Diepelt are sort of consistently buzzing away at their own pace. They're about to enter their 13th lap.
So Chennai is actually the 6th largest city in India and the 4th most populous urban agglomeration in India.
Team from Darmstadt has a KTM 690 LC4 engine with 102mm bore and 80mm stroke. It's a single cylinder, total 653 cc displacement and a compression ratio of 11.8 to 1. They also sport a turbocharger and a VW OEM Bosch 46mm throttle body. Chassis weighs 33 kilograms.
I think everybody knows everything they could possibly know about Darmstadt after the track drive yesterday, so I think it's good you're sticking with the car facts on this one, Steph.
Yeah, there's unless they play the game of soccer again, the team from Darmstadt, then it might be that an update is required.
We've got a theory here from some of the officials that Darmstadt is trying to skirt the rules by burning oil instead of fuel, so they'll have a much higher efficiency score at the end of the endurance event. What do you think about that, Steph?
It certainly goes against the intent of the rule.
Isn't that something that the Formula 1 teams were banned for doing a while ago?
I think it was, but maybe they followed that precedent or trying to gain some sort of advantage.
And again, to win the efficiency award, speed is also factored in. But it's quite impressive though, because it's their second car. And the team was only founded in 2015, so it's definitely one of the newer teams around here.
Meanwhile, the first Chennai driver comes through the slingshot for the final time because he's on his last lap, I think. And Chennai is about to come in for driver change.
And the driver of car 250 comes in, makes it into the pit. Let's hope that the car will be able to refire once they make the driver change. First, of course, the scrutineers have to check and make sure there's no mechanical faults with the vehicle.
The smoke emissions from the Darmstadt car are certainly not getting any less.
I'm reading their engineering design report now from the Darmstadt car, but there's actually no mentioning of intentionally burning oil to save fuel, so don't know if it's by design.
Blue flags being shown to car 16, and Darmstadt can overtake Diepelt. They are now the only two cars on track. We have the Indian team, car 250, in the drive change area.
Yeah, it's looking quite good for them in the driver change so far. The second driver is being strapped in. The scrutineers have done their inspections, and as far as I can tell, they don't look too concerned.
German expressions of joy going on the stands, I think, as Darmstadt comes around again in the wings section. Ooh, Darmstadt's engine revs are now oscillating quite a bit, and the entire car is pitching quite violently because of it.
I also can't see too much smoke anymore, so I think they might have run. Ah, there is a puff of smoke. Should be running out of oil soon, right, Thijs?
I think they might be stuck in a gear. I'm pretty sure, actually. I don't hear them shifting. That would explain the bucking of the car, because they're probably very low in the revs in those sections.
The scrutineer is just checking the second driver's belts from IIT Madras. And now he's going to have to try to get the engine started and the car back on track without stalling again. It's not sounding like the strongest of starter motors, I've got to say.
The Darmstadt team designed their gearbox to be actuated electromechanically, and also the clutch to be actuated electronically. How is the restart going for Austin? I'm hearing it, not looking at it, but it doesn't sound too promising.
It's not sounding too promising. I think we're at the same level of desperation we were at when they finally got it to fire to start the event. I'll obviously let you know as soon as I hear anything other than a labored starter motor making some noise.
Darmstadt really struggling now with these tighter sections. Although I gotta say that this driver is driving much, much more cleanly than the first driver, so apparently it is possible.
Still not looking very good for IIT Madras. I'd say the team is remaining very calm.
The shifting issues.
Oh, and they've got it fired up! They've got it fired up! IIT Madras have got the car. Oh, it's stalled again. That was really exciting for about 2 seconds, if you couldn't tell. I think something has happened with the car. The chain looks to have popped off. The chain, they've had a chain failure. So the car was started when they went to drive away.
Oh yeah, you can see it from here. That might be a chain issue in the driver chain. That's a shame. They were actually doing very consistent lap times. And,
So did the chain went off the sprocket or did it break, Thijs? Can you see that?
maybe both. It is no longer on the sprocket anyway. That's all we can see from here.
That was certainly the highest of highs and lowest of lows within the span of about 5 seconds.
I was going to say that the apparent shifting problems for Darmstadt are certainly showing in their lap times. They've slowed down by at least 10 seconds from what their previous fastest time was. They, after this lap, will still have 2 more laps to go. They do seem to be going all right, apart from the shifting issues though, so they might well be able to finish it up.
And after these 2 cars have completed endurance, all of us will take a short lunch break and then we'll rejoin you in the afternoon for the faster cars on track, building up speed as we go. And then probably we will see a final 4 or final 5 again for the fastest cars on track. I think there will be 5 this year.
Yeah, that's correct, Steph. They published the list this last night and there were 5 cars in the final group. That's assuming they all make it to take the start, which hopefully they should. Deepholt's now being shown the last lap board. They've had a very consistent run as well. I think with the exception of a few laps right at the beginning, all of their lap times have been within about 3 or 4 seconds of one another. So yeah, the Indian team from Madras is definitely DNF, but they're still having trouble even getting the car moved from the driver change area. It looks like the rear end of the car is completely locked up. Just as you were saying how cleanly this driver was driving Thijs for Darmstadt, he's taken out about 3 or 4 cones just in front of us.
Yeah, we just had a look at the car while it was in the drive change area, and the layout of the steering system is such that I think it's quite tiring to drive this car. So that might explain some of why these drivers take out quite a few cones to begin with, but also why the second driver is getting a bit more prolific in that sense as his stint progresses.
And around come the line of final corner, US Depolt's car E16 finishes endurance at Formula Student Germany. A steady run for them to make it to the finish. Great job to the team. Deserve a round of applause. And Darmstadt just have a few more corners to go. Making their way around the slingshot. Driver keeping the revs up, takes out one last cone for good measure. Through the final chicane. And across the line for the driver from TU Darmstadt.
They've had their fair share of problems throughout this endurance, so they'll be very happy to finish. Congratulations, guys.
Those scenes of jubilation down here in the pits. Oh.
Nein, aber es fährt gerade kein Auto.